1988 may be remembered for a sports car dynasty built around Australian Jeff Brabham. Together, Brabham and his Nissan have won a record 6 straight IMSA Camel GT races. Today, some of the world's greatest sports cars and drivers will try to stop Brabham's historic role. Porsche and the man Brabham seeks to dethrone, defending Camel GT champion Chip Robinson. A rough and ready Jaguar team led by the man Brabham has replaced atop the point standings Denmark's John Nielsen. And most ironic of all, today, for the first time, Jeff Brabham will go head-to-head with another Nissan driven by his own teammate, John Morton. ESPN, the world leader in motorsports coverage, presents Speed World. It's a beautiful, sunny, festive day in Portland, Oregon, America's Rose City. Hello, everyone. I'm Bob Varsha, welcoming you to ESPN Speed World and our live coverage of the 300-kilometer G.I. Joe's Camel Grand Prix from Portland International Raceway. When you think about it, it's been nothing but sunshine and parties since back in April for Team Nissan when Jeff Brabham took the first of his record 6 straight Camel GT victories. Will he get another one today? Well, to find out more, let's talk to our analyst on ESPN for road racing activities, Camel GT racer Bill Adam. Bill, what do you think? Brabham's got the momentum, but he's got history working both for and against him here at Portland.
Well, he really has. The good part is that Jeff is on a 6 straight race winning streak. Incredible, never before done. But at this race, he's always historically had problems. 2 years ago, qualified on the pole, fastest race lap, and with 1 lap to go, ran out of gas. Last year, qualified on the pole, fastest race lap, and motor problems with 10 laps to go. This has not been a good track for him, but if it is good, the winner of this race for 10 straight years has gone on to win the Camel GT Championship.
So history bodes well, but it hasn't been Nissan. It hasn't been easy for Nissan, that is, coming into this Portland race, and we'll have more about that when we return to our live flag-to-flag coverage of Camel GT racing in Portland after this.
Of all the cars that come out each year, only one can be the Motor Trend Car of the Year. For 1988, that one is this one, the hot new Pontiac Grand Prix. Get on the Pontiac and ride, Pontiac ride! The new Grand Prix, Motor Trend's Car of the Year. You've got to drive it. Get on the Pontiac, we feel excitement.
Grand Prix from Portland, Oregon is brought to you by Quaker State Motor Oil. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will. By BF Goodrich TAs and the new all-weather Comp TA. And by Pontiac Grand Prix, the 1988 Motor Trend Car of the Year. The media here in Portland have been paying probably due notice to an apparently increasing level of aggressive driving among the Jaguar drivers, particularly when it comes to Jeff Brabham and his Nissan. After a series of runner-up performances, 3 to be exact, between the Nissan and the Jaguar team, the Jaguar drivers suddenly got a bit more aggressive, and we saw it here on ESPN at Lime Rock, Connecticut, where John Nielsen attempted to throw a hip check on Jeff Brabham. It didn't really work, though, as Brabham went through and won the race anyway. After some more allegations of blocking at Watkins Glen, this Nissan nose job administered at the hands of Jaguar driver Jan Lammers had Jeff Brabham once again absolutely incensed, but he got back in the car and notched his 6th straight victory. Are we likely to see another escalation of that battle between Jaguar and Nissan? Well, let's find out more with one of our 2 pit reporters today. Here's Jerry Garrett with Jan Lammers.
We're looking at Jan sitting in his car, anxiously awaiting the start. And Jan, are we going to see another physical battle between you and the Nissan nemesis?
Well, first of all, there's still 2 forces between us and the Nissans, but it's racing. We fight for every inch, and we just feel that the spectators have the right that we do fight for every inch. There's no point that we drive using the indicators and just driving behind each other. We have tough competition. We are not really in a chance to win this race, so we just have to go for every possible opportunity we have to win this race.
Okay, well, good luck and have a good race out there today. Let's go up pit road now for the other half of this controversy with Rick DeBrule.
The man on the pole, the man with the winning streak, is Jeff Brabham. Jeff Brabham sitting in the car right now. Jeff, any leftover hard feelings between you and Jan Lammers? Are you worried at all about him on the track?
No, not at all. I think that was just something that happened at the last race, and it's all over, forgotten now, and we're just going to get on with this race, and I don't foresee any problem whatsoever.
How much pressure on you trying to keep that winning streak alive?
Well, it's a lot. You know, the car's just been running beautifully up until now. We've had no problems in practice, so we just got to keep our fingers crossed and, you know, hope that the Nissan runs throughout the whole race without any problems, and I think we have a good chance, but you never know what can happen in these races.
Your first solo shot, I just see you put on the cool suit. Any problems with the heat today, do you think?
No, actually, it's a bit cooler today, but it's always nice to wear it, and if it gets too cold, I can always turn it off.
So Jeff Brabham trying to keep that winning streak alive, going for number 7 here at Portland International Raceway.
Thank you, Rick. We mentioned earlier that Nissan's rise to the very top of the world's richest sports car series has not been an easy one. Even though they're winning now, consider that the car has been some 4 years in development. When it was originally brought out, it was dismissed as too complex and too fragile. But in the past 4 years, how long Team Nissan, Don Devendorf, and Jeff Brabham have come.
In 1985, aeronautical engineer and race driver Don Devendorf debuted the Nissan GTP. But thanks to mechanical failure and crashes, the computer wizardry behind the car was suspect.
We try to figure a lot out, you know, at the computer, in one tunnel, a lot of these types of things. And at the same time, we try to back it up with real data, real testing. It's not all theory. There's a lot of hard facts and hard practical just plain gut-wrenching work that you have to do to get involved in any of these activities. And you've got to have done your homework, and you've got to be willing to work hard, stay late, and do what it takes to make a winner.
Devendorf and his team had that commitment to winning, but checkered flags were a long time coming.
Well, I think my greatest disappointment was the first Portland race that we lost when we ran out of gas with a lap and a half to go. And that would have been my first win with the team, and it would have been the team's first win. And to get so close but so far was really disappointing. And I hadn't run a race for quite a while up until then, so that was pretty devastating.
Early last year, the team finally did win at Miami, but there was more devastation to come. 3 major crashes, including Elliott Forbes Robinson's Riverside incident. When it didn't crash, the Nissan often broke down, but its owner saw signs of progress. The Nissan finally found its reliability, and the transformation has been remarkable.
The quote, unreliable Nissan was really actually quite a reliable car with some very minor problems. And I think some of the people that were other competitors, I think, were watching the car finish strong and seeing that they were minor problems. It wasn't a fundamental thing to fix. I think they were very concerned about the progress.
In the 3 previous seasons that the Nissan's been around, this pit fire would have just been another Nissan disaster. Instead, this victory at Road Atlanta was the payoff of 3 years of hard work and some frustration. And Brabham, he hasn't lost since.
A combination of a tremendous amount of hard work by some tremendously talented people, and for the end result is just a fantastic race car. It's one of the best race cars I've ever driven, and I'm just having a ball right now.
You're looking at one of the men who's responsible for that change, Nissan National Motorsports Manager Kaz Kastner. Kaz, what is it that made the team turn that corner?
Well, I think the team has really been ready to turn that corner, but it was getting goals straight both for the team and for the company, and getting the people that were such really, really great experts working in their particular field. We have some very, very smart people involved in this team.
You talked about how this has been long-range planning. This actually started some time ago.
This particular chassis we started last November or December. We first started talking about it, and actually, in fact, went at it last May, a year ago, May.
So that's the planning that has brought Nissan to this point. We're going to be back with more from Portland in the G.I. Joe special right after this.
So, what are your big plans this summer?
I'm working with meat.
You could go to Harvey's at Lake Tahoe.
Darren, don't stand in the smoke, oh yeah?
Harvey's has 6 great restaurants.
I got shish kebab and flank steak.
Harvey's has a new race and sports book.
Honey!
A new pool coming up.
Honey!
Fabulous hotel rooms.
I'm flipping! Look, I'm kind of busy. You got a picture?
Sure. Harvey's Resort Hotel and Casino at Lake Tahoe.
That's some hotel.
Well, come on.
Fine. Don't forget to flip these.
You can bring the whole family, you know.
If I get bored, I'll send for him.
Okay.
Experience the inaugural running of the NHRA Motorcraft Ford California National, July 27th through the 31st at Sears Point International Raceway in Sonoma. Every drag racing superstar for the first time ever at Sears Point. Save on and charge tickets at Fast Ticketmaster.
Back at Portland in our live coverage of the G.I. Joe's Camel Grand Prix around the 1.9-mile, 9-turn race course here at Portland International Raceway, entirely confined within the city limits of Portland, Oregon. As you see, the cars have made their way to the grid. Festivities pre-race still going on. Right now, let's take the opportunity to take a closer look at the Portland International Racecourse with Bill Adam.
We're on the front straight at Portland International Raceway, 180-mile-an-hour piece of pavement, but a good wide spot. Excellent for safe passing, but a critical area right up ahead of us. This is the braking area into turn one, the perfect spot for braking. Hard on the inside, you can do a good safe pass here, but tight on the inside. Make a double apex corner. Right over to the curb, let the car get out wide. You really treat turns 1 and 2 right here as one long corner. Back over to the outside of the track, but you hug. Stay on the inside here through turn 3 because you want to stay set up for this. The pavement that's facing us now is the corner that leads onto a back straight, far more critical than just that little left-hander. As we feed out here, you carry as much speed as possible, and again, another good area for setting up passes. Even though the track is curving here, it still is the back straight, and you're carrying 150, 160 miles an hour down here. Up ahead, we're seeing a little left-hand bend. I can go up over the curb safely. Right there, we're over. Now a tight right and very, very heavy braking here. Get set up very cleanly because exiting from here on the gas hard, 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 and this is feeding us onto the front straight. Completes our lap at Portland International Raceway.
You are looking at Indy 500 winner Bobby Rahal, one of the big names in the race today. Bobby, you don't always run IMSA. Are you happy to have a chance to be here today?
I am. I enjoy IMSA racing. I did it before Indy cars and keeps me sharp, I think, for IndyCar racing. So I enjoy doing both this and the Budweiser True Sports Lola.
How's the Chevy going to figure in this battle between the Nissan and the Jaguar today?
Well, we're competitive with the Jaguars. I'm afraid nobody's competitive with the Nissan, so so I don't feel too lonely. But we'll have our work cut out for us, no question.
All right, well, have a good race, Bobby. Let's go down pit road with Rick DeBrule.
Well, standing by with the Camel Lights leader, who is Scott Chabot, who qualified on the pole. A little bit unusual. You haven't been this fast all year long. You've had some reliability problems. Have you got that conquered?
Yeah, we think for this race that we got a new engine builder, and we're looking to do pretty well for this race.
And you've also had a tire change. Is that going to affect you at all?
Oh, we hope so. The Goodyears, we just transferred over to Goodyears, and I'm on the pole, so maybe they did some good.
You said you're doing things a little bit different this weekend. You're not actually going to be going for straight line speed. You're also working a corner, even though this is a straightaway track.
Right. We've got high downforce in the car, and we're looking to go through the twisty stuff pretty quick and be almost as quick down the straightaway, but not as quick.
That's the word from the man starting on the pole of the Camel Lights, Scott Chabot.
Second pole of the year for Scott Chabot. 29 cars are on the grid, ready to take the green flag in front of a big crowd here at Portland. We'll come back to set the grid and introduce them all to you live from Portland in a moment.
Just how good are genuine GM parts? Good enough for Dale Earnhardt, 3-time Winston Cup driving champion. And the same kind of quality that goes into the GM parts for his car goes into the GM parts for your car. So get the goods under your hood. Genuine GM parts from your General Motors dealer.
You hear the thunder, the call of the road.
Whether it's the rhythm of 16 valves or the roar of a lusty turbo, Grand Am is sheer driving excitement.
Get on your Pontiac and ride, Pontiac ride.
2 available engines that eliminate boredom and lesser cars. That's Grand Am.
Get on your Pontiac, rebuild excitement.
Before the first kickoff, the NFL's best. Relax, unwind, and have some fun. Miami's Dan Marino tees it up at the NFL Back to Camp Golf Classic, Sunday night on ESPN.
Drivers, start your engines.
Thousands of horsepower, 600, 700, 800 horsepower per car come to life as the pace lights flash, and we're getting very, very close to rollout time. In the G.I. Joe's Camel Grand Prix, you're watching live here on ESPN Speed World. Let's take a look now at the way they'll line up as they face the green flag here at Portland. On the pole and on a roll, Jeff Brabham riding a 6-race winning streak as he comes into Portland with the number 83 Nissan. Alongside, for the first time ever, no, you're not seeing double, teammate John Morton will have the number 84 red, white, and blue Nissan outside row 1. Row 2 to the inside, Bob Wallach, the Frenchman in the fastest Porsche 962 in the field, the BF Goodrich machine. Outside row 2 will be Price Cobb, the leading Porsche driver in the country right now. James Weaver, probably the fastest driver in the field, who won't get in the car. Price will go solo. Row 3 inside will be Lammers and Nielsen in the Jaguar number 61. Alongside them will be Martin Brundle, a teammate in the Sixter car number 60 that he will share with New York's Davy Jones. Row 4 on the inside, we'll see South African Cyril van der Merwe along with Elliott Forbes Robinson in the number 52 Rick Hendrick Corvette. Outside, Chip Robinson, the defending Camel GT champion, in a troubled number 14 Al Holbert Racing Porsche. Bobby Rahal will have the number 22 Corvette. He will share with EFR. And alongside them on row 5 will be Pete Halsmer in a Ford-powered machine. He'll share with Indy driver Dominic Dobson, making his debut in the GTP class. A beautiful look right there at snow-capped Mount Hood. At the foot of Mount Hood is Portland, Oregon, site of today's race. Here is the rest of the field. The number 66 Jag, we are told now, will not start the race. The Buick of Moretti and Rowe will be on row 6 to the outside. On row 7, Bruce Levin, an old standby in IMSA Camel GT Racing in a Porsche, alongside the similar 962 of Hotchkiss and Adams. Row 8 will be Pompelli and Meade in a Ford-powered racer, alongside the Porsche of Jourdain and John Graham out of Canada. Row 9, Steve Durst and Mike Brockman in the lights category, alongside, a GTP car alongside the lights leaders, Scott Schubert, Linda Ludeman, not likely to get into the race car. Charles Morgan will start inside row 10 alongside Skeeter McKittrick. We have 2 races in 1 here today. Hiro Matsushita and Jim Downing will share our Camel Lights in-car camera. Terry Visger will drive solo in a Pontiac alongside. Jim Downing and Matsushita, the sister car number 63, will start right behind the 70. Parker and Everett will share their Pontiac on the outside of row 12. Row 13, Bill Cole and yet another Pontiac-powered machine alongside David Loring and Tom Hessert. They have 2 cars in the race. Don Bell will drive solo, the very last entrant. So because of the Jaguar being pulled from the field, we will have 28 cars to take the car. Now here is the number 55 car of Terry Visger off the grid. Big problems for them. They were the winners at Road America just 2 weeks ago, and what a terrible heartbreak that has to be. But you hear the engine firing with a puff of smoke. Terry Visger's away, and he will take his place in the field.
Probably just what happened there, Bob. These cars naturally run as light a battery as possible. They're not designed for sustained cranking, and if you do stall it, you can really flatten a battery very quickly. He probably ran it down quite a bit, and rather than run it totally flat where it couldn't operate the fuel pumps, the crew decided to give him a push start, so he should be able to resume at the back of the pack, and we got a long race.
Great Southern California driver Terry Visger. All kinds of questions to be answered in a matter of moments. How will the Nissan team strategy play off? Morton against Brabham. Brabham, a full 2 mile an hour clear of the rest of the field. Will Morton block, or will Morton step up to do battle with his teammate? We'll soon find out. Lots of Porsches, 2 Team Jaguars in the field. There were the 2 black and silver Corvettes. It's going to be a terrific battle. Remember, we will cover the Camel Lights, lightweight, downsized prototypes, who will have a fierce battle of their own, while the GTP cars up front do their best. Here comes Terry Visger already at full song. I don't think he's going to be able to make the back of the pack before they take the green flag, but the crowd is cheering him on. They know he's out there. Meanwhile, on the front stretch, the green waves. The field of 28 is underway, and everybody is watching turn 1. Jeff Brabham with the early lead. Alongside Bob Wallach comes up next to Morton, and I think he's going to take turn 2. There he is. He's going to take second by the time they get to 1.
Yeah, Wallach's car, historically, all year long, the BF Goodrich Porsche has been blindingly fast on the straight, and he used that straight line speed to get up into second. Now, there's a Jaguar off in the grass.
Number 61 is off onto the grass on the outside of turn 1. It's a very narrow racetrack, very high speeds. Turn 1 and turn 9 at either end of the long straightaways is where we expect to see most of the action. 61 back on track.
That was Jan Lammers just went off there, and maybe somebody just returned the bumping to him.
Well, I don't know if we want to raise that issue just yet. It's been a hot topic here in Portland. But there you see Jeff Brabham making quick work of the field from up front already with a big lead over Bob Wallach in the fastest of the Porsches.
Really astonishing what this car and driver combination can do. To get a lead like this in the opening lap when tires are cold, you have to be so careful. The car is really sliding all over the place, and yet look what he's pulling out. Incredible.
Fully 2 miles an hour faster than the rest of the field, but there are a lot of laps. It's a 300-kilometer race, about 183 miles. There's a good look at the new record holder for consecutive single-season victories, Jeff Brabham. And we can't say enough about how far this Nissan team has come. In their first 3 or 4 years of existence, they might have won $50,000, $75,000 in the Camel GT Series. Thus far this year, Brabham has won over $250,000. Should he win the championship, and he is now the pole sitter and the points leader, he stands to pick up another $150,000 bonus. It could easily be a $500,000 year for Jeff Brabham. Bob Wallach in the number 67 BF Goodrich Porsche in hot pursuit.
Down in the pit, we were talking with Terry Bisger's crew chief. Apparently the problem on the start there was they had some teeth broken off the flywheel. As a result, the starter wouldn't engage, and they had to push it until they could finally get it push started.
Meanwhile, Jan Lammers in the 61 Jaguar off the race course. Once again, problems on that car, I guess.
I think what's happening is that Lammers is just pushing too hard right now. He made a mistake on the opening lap, got off the track, but he's not settling down.
I thought we saw a puff of smoke out of the back of the car there. Let's see if he pulls Jan to pit road. This is turn 9. We have a replay of what happened. First, we'll see if Lammers makes the pit. No,
he's going on.
Watch the left-hand side of your screen now, and there goes straight off Jan Lammers. He might have taken a pop there from somebody, but he just went straight off the turn.
Really incredible. What he has to watch out for. You see all this dirt, tremendous cloud of garbage getting thrown up. He has to watch for anything clogging the air intakes. There are very critical brake ducts in the front of this car, and if they get clogged with grass and dirt, he'll overheat the brakes very quickly.
You saw that wave of debris go right up over the car at the very end of the replay there. I guess what I thought was smoke was really the dirt and dust being knocked off of Jan Lammers' Jaguar.
He's taking his cat for a walk in the countryside.
Now, these cars are also running on Dunlop tires. Just about everybody else is on Goodyears in the field, but the Jaguars have their very own selection of Dunlop tires. Perhaps they don't heat up as quickly as the Goodyears, and Lammers just went off on cold ones.
Yeah, it's very, very uncharacteristic. I think they're trying too hard to get back up and play with the Nissan. And you have to play this game with a certain amount of patience. You really can't charge until everything's ready for it.
Now Lammers has basically put himself at the back of the GTP field. In front of him, we've got a brief look at the 33 Pontiac. Meanwhile, you're watching the mid-pack battle there. Now here comes Lammers down the front straightaway. It looks like he will probably put away the Pontiac GTP and move up one more spot as they dive into turn 1. Now we'll have an in-car camera in the BF Goodrich Porsche, and here you are with Frenchman Bob Wallach, a former European endurance champion, at the wheel.
He's on the back straight right there, and you can see from the amount of shock coming through the steering wheel, it's a really good track, very, very smooth. And watch as he goes up over the speed bumps here. There, he's got his wheel right over it. See his fighting wheel back and forth. Now he's heavy braking, dropping down into second gear. And at this point, from here on out, he's accelerating as hard as he can.
I tell you what you don't see is Jeff Brabham. You're looking at the second place car out the windshield. You can't even see Jeff Brabham. His lead is already more than 5 seconds. Now we'll have another in-car in the Camel Lights glass. You're inside the number 70 Mazda-powered Argo, sponsored by Panasonic. Hiro Matsushita of Japan, a great Japanese racing driver. You see him making his way down the back stretch where we just saw Bob Wallach go. Gives you some idea of the interval between the leading GTP cars and the lights right now. Tremendous speeds as he heads down into that same turn 9 complex.
And see, just fighting this wheel back and forth, just tiny, tiny adjustments on it. You try and drive a racing car as lazily as you can.
Back up front now with the number 83 red, white, and blue Nissan of Jeff Brabham, having a storybook season in racing after many frustrating years in the IndyCars. He drove for Rick Gallus's team. As you're going to look back at the interval, there's your second place car with Bob Wallach. A frustrating career in IndyCars. Jeff says he'd like to go back to those cars someday, but only with a premier team. And we'd have to say that Jeff Brabham's stock has really risen with his 1988 Camel GT campaign.
I think there's a lot of competitors here and have been here for the last 6 races that really hope Jeff does go back to kart racing very quickly.
Down into turn 1, you get a good look at just how steady that Nissan is in the turns. And everybody says that's really the secret to the Nissan, is the thing handles so very well, very rarely loses any speed in the turns.
No, it's a remarkably smooth car. And we've alluded to the smooth flow of this car in past races. Watch as it goes through these corners, and when we look at other cars, try and compare how much they're bouncing or what the reactions are. You watch this just smoothly down the straight. It doesn't even look like he's going that quickly. The car is sitting so stable.
Now we go to John Morton. This is the sister car, 84 on the side. A little bit of day glow tape there on the right front corner so the crew can tell them apart when they're pitting. John Morton making his way around a very creditable 5th right now. Morton said before the race he was going to do everything he could to be competitive and try and get a 1-2 finish for his team. Of course, we all know by now about the tremendous shunt that John Morton went through in practice for the race at Lime Rock back on Memorial Day. Flipped a brand new Nissan just like this one, totally destroyed the car, severely burned John, gave him a big cut across his face, but just a few weeks later he was back in the car at Watkins Glen as the Nissan juggernaut continued to roll in Camel GT racing. Out in front of him, the 962 of Bryce Cobb.
Really interesting study of here's 2 cars, 2 separate ideas on how to be the fastest GTP car in the world. You can see the Nissan has very long slab sides, and then when you look at the Porsche, it's like a ducktail. And here's our leader. Brabham just continues to roll on effortlessly
with an 8.5-second lead over the Porsche of Bob Wallen. So Jeff Brabham, originally from Australia, now living in Noblesville, Indiana, slowly stretching that lead. Now there's the 52 car. Cyril Vandermerve smoking badly out the rear.
Really a lot of smoke, and that looks like it's coming. It is an exhaust smoke, so that's not a good sign at all for Cyril.
Now this is a V8 machine using fuel injections prepared at Rick Hendrick's shops in North Carolina. Same place that the V8s come from that power his NASCAR Winston Cup teams for Darrell Waltrip and the like. And there are serious problems with that car. Vandermerve pulling to a stop. Remember, they do have another car in the race, however. Vandermerve looking for better than 3rd place. A 10-time South African National Rally champion, logs tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of miles each year flying back and forth to his native country where he still does rally from time to time.
Yeah, I think he uses a lot of the rallying in-road racing over here. He's probably spent more miles going sideways than any other driver in IMSA. Always under control, but spectacular display of talent.
I heard an inside rumor that Cyril Vandermerve may appear in a Winston Cup car for Rick Hendrick at Watkins Glen when the Winston Cup stars head for the Budweiser at the Glen.
I think that would be a very potent combination.
And nobody moving very quickly, which means it is likely to be terminal. Cyril has already told them that he has got big problems. A look from down at trackside as they begin the long 2,000-foot pull down what is a drag strip most of the year, but becomes a part of the Portland International. There's number 7 off the racetrack.
I think that's Tom Pompelli and Chip Mead. I think Tom was the one that was starting the race. Oh, no, the car is moving. I think maybe just stalled it.
Now, they have a couple of different engine combinations out here. They have a V8 machine and a turbocharged machine. I believe the 7 is the turbo car.
Yes.
And he did keep the fire under that one, so it looks like Tom Pompelli will get back into the race. Long way to go to get back on the racetrack, and now he's going to have to be careful that he lets traffic go by. One of the most agonizing weights in sport. Watching your place go past as you sit in the grass with engine running under your right foot. And with the way cleared, oh, now maybe a little bit of trouble finding a gear. Let's see if we can get a look at a replay and find out exactly what happened to the 7 car. The safety workers scamper. Now look to the right-hand side of your screen in slow motion, and 2 cars went off. Oh, in front of them was the Pontiac number 33 shared by Bob Earl and Jeff Klein. They apparently got nose to tail and just did it, as you say, Bill, line astern straight off the racetrack.
Well, a wonderfully safe facility, too, where you can make mistakes like that without damaging the car. That's exactly the same spot the Jaguar went off.
Okay, before we get away from Cyril Vandermerve on the Corvette, let's go down trackside now with Rick DeBrule.
Well, Cyril Vandermerve, a quick end to your day, very short, a lot shorter than expected. What happened?
I think it's the engine. It ran onto 7 cylinders, and there was a lot of smoke. So I just cut that out and came in, and I believe there's a lot of oil around.
Was there a problem from the beginning of the race?
No. It went okay for the first few laps, and then on the last one, as I came by, it just went on 7 cylinders.
You said a lot of oil down. Were you laying oil on the track?
No, a lot of oil on the undertray of the car, in the engine compartment.
Okay, the end of a quick day for Cyril Vandermerwe.
And perhaps for others, if in fact he did lay down oil out on the racetrack. Meanwhile, Bob Wallach making his way around on a lapped car. The Nissan of Jeff Brabham well out of sight at this point, but he's up over 10 seconds. There you see Bob Wallach at work. We'll have a story about him a little bit later in the day. Jeff Brabham leads, Wallach is second, Price Cobb third in a Porsche. We'll be right back.
Bob Strange, BF Goodrich test engineer.
After years of testing BF Goodrich tires, we've developed the all-weather Contier. It's a real performer in any kind of weather. I believe the all-weather Contier is the best high-performance all-weather tire in the world. I mean all-weather.
BF Goodrich TAs, tested tough to make your car perform.
If you like to drive, really like to drive, this is what your next car should be. This is the all-new Pontiac Grand Prix.
Get on your Pontiac and ride, Pontiac ride.
This is the 1988 Motor Trend Car of the Year. And that ought to be you driving.
Get on your Pontiac. We feel excitement.
Get ready for thunder. Thursday nights explode with thundering power and lightning speed. First, the green flag is raised on ESPN Speed Week, a recap of the top events in motorsports. Then it's motorized mayhem featuring rugged off-road racing, the lightning speed of the dragsters, car-crushing excitement, mudbox truck and tractor pulls, and the live thrills of bone-jarring USAC racing. Experience Thursday Night Thunder on ESPN.
Welcome back to Portland International Raceway. Bob Barsha and Bill Adam with you. You're watching live as Jeff Brabham is in the hunt for a record 7th straight Camel GT victory. His Nissan powers down the front straightaway, getting up to speeds in excess of 170 miles an hour as he passes the flag stand and begins another lap of this 1.9-mile circuit. We have news from Talladega that Ken Schrader is a first-time winner in the Winston Cup Series. He took the 500-miler down there. Congratulations to Ken. Things haven't been doing as well for your Rick Hendrick teammates here. Cyril Vandermerwe has dropped out with one of the Corvettes. Meanwhile, this is our in-car camera and Hiro Matsushita's Mazda-powered Argo racer, Japanese driver in a Japanese-powered car with Japanese sponsorship, running in 4th position behind pole sitter Scott Schubot, Skeeter McKittrick, and Charles Morgan. Behind Matsushita is his teammate and car owner Jim Downing. There you see the 2 cars from the Downing operation. Jim Downing, the 3-time Camel Lights champion, the only champion the class has ever known, and he is in position to win a 4th crown. He is in 2nd place in the season points, just 15 points behind the leader, Tom Hessert, who is behind him on the racetrack right now. Downing is famous for pulling out series championships without winning too many races. In fact, he only won 1 last year. As you take a look there at Tom Hessert in the number 19 car with Buick power, Hessert is the points leader, and at this point, he's had a rough day qualifying. He just wants to keep Jim Downing in sight and try to protect that points lead. As I mentioned, Jim Downing won but 1 race in 1987, and it came here at Portland, Oregon. A very, very steady racer and one of the great gentlemen in IMSA Camel GT racing.
Just mentioning Tom Hessert. Oh, they're back in the Panasonic car. Again, look at the movement on the wheel. Just excellent shots here. I guess we can call this driver our hero, can't we?
Our hero? Oh, no. Really? Thanks a lot, Bill.
Just right down the front straight here. Now, we'll have to keep an eye. You see, part of the problem that the light drivers have is when the larger, the full GTP cars come roaring by, they don't even get much of a chance to rest on the straight because you're constantly watching your mirror trying to avoid any possible collisions.
Boy, I take a look out that windshield, and all I can think of is our ESPN coverage at Le Mans, where we watch those cars going down the back stretch, the straightaway at 240 miles an hour. Same kind of thing. Hands barely moving on the steering wheel, the sign of a well-set-up race car.
It's either that or a lot of fear at that speed.
Frozen. I know I was. A terrific race, and I hope we get to go back and bring it to you again. Right now, Hiro Matsushita holding down 4th place in Camel Lights, and we've got a battle on the front stretch now. The number 16 car there is Price Cobb. Behind him, John Morton moving up in the 2nd team Nissan. This is a battle for 3rd place in the race right now. The leader's lapping at a speed of about 113 miles an hour. A very, very quick pace going on here at Portland. Morton stalking Bryce Cobb out of Evergreen, Colorado. Originally from Texas. I know he'll have a lot of fans down there when we go to San Antonio on Labor Day weekend.
He certainly will. You saw Morton playing a little bit of a head game there with Price. Just at the end of the straight, instead of tucking right into Price Cobb's slipstream, he just moved out the side just to fill up the mirrors a little bit, try and distract Price a bit. But Price is so good. He has really developed so quickly in the last couple of years. And I think a very underrated driver when he first entered IMSA with the Rob Dyson team, and has really proven himself to be a brilliant driver.
One of the preeminent Porsche drivers around the world. Bryce Cobb is a two-time winner of the Porsche Cup of North America. It's a competition exclusively for drivers of Porsche race cars, both professional and amateur. Price has driven all over the world in Porsche products. He drives the Japanese Endurance Series. He was even out here in a street stock car driving a Porsche, hoping to earn points and win and maybe retire that Porsche Cup North America. Big prize giving, $30,000 check to Bryce Cobb in Germany around Christmas time. Porsche does take care of their own.
That's not a bad Christmas present to get. You can see that on the back of John Morton's Nissan there's a Jaguar who's also crept into this battle. We've now got a three-way battle developing here.
And as that battle continues, we'll take our leave of John Morton and check in with how his teammate is doing. And you can see the way traffic is building up. Jeff Brabham swinging way to the outside in order to get around the Pontiac in the middle. And it looks like one of the Buick Marches, the red car to the left of your screen. They fall into line single file. This is the way you want to enter turn one. Will Brabham go underneath the slower car? No. Jeff Brabham making his way up behind our camera car, Hiro Matsushita. Meanwhile, Rick DeBrule has a comment from pit road.
Well, you're looking at Ashley Page. He is Brabham's crew chief. The board he's got is the one he's been keeping his lap times with. He's been pretty consistent. He had a low of about 59 seconds on the second lap. Since then, it's been in the 60-second range. A couple times he's dipped up into 61 and 62. But the main thing you just see on that sheet, his lead getting bigger and bigger and bigger to the point now where it's at 16 seconds. It also lists his fuel consumption. So far, it's a little bit over 8 gallons or so. In talking with Ashley Page, he says that's very good at this point.
Well, one of the things we're going to be watching is fuel consumption. This is a comparatively short race at 300 kilometers in Portland, but it looks like the Nissans are going to have to make 2 fuel stops, whereas a lot of the other GTP cars, primarily the Porsches, are going to be able to make the distance in 1. So pit strategy going to be very, very important today.
I'm sure something to the entire Nissan team are going to keep in mind was that race 2 years ago where they ran out of gas basically with a lap to go. Just what a heartbreak.
A fuel pickup problem contributing to the problem. They had the tanks down very low. Jeff Brabham said afterward he thought he had another couple of laps in the race car, but it wasn't to be. You saw that race here on ESPN. The biggest heartbreak in a long series of them for Jeff Brabham. Last lap speed 109, down from the figure of 113 we saw earlier. That because of the traffic that Jeff Brabham is having to negotiate as he makes his way around.
And Jeff is really negotiating it very, very carefully. He's being very deliberate on the spots he's choosing to pass. And even though he tends to lose 1 or 2 seconds by waiting sometimes to get by the slower traffic, he's doing it with a great deal of safety. He doesn't want to have to make a pit stop to put on a new nose piece or fix something maybe that's going to take a lot longer to fix than just a simple stop and go.
Now, we've already noticed that there are 2 Nissans out there, the 84 car with John Morton and in the 83 car for Jeff Brabham. We asked Brabham whether they had any special strategy for their 2 cars.
No, not really. Just hopefully John's not allowed to pass me. We'll wait and see. You know, John, when he found out he's going to run the race by himself, he said, well, I'd better make the most of the street because he's going to hose me down real bad this weekend. So we're just going to have to wait and see. You know,
well, you can say one thing for the Nissan team. They are hanging loose. They are working hard. They were really late out here last night changing engines on John Morton's number 84 car, but they really have the look of winners about them. They're joshing around. They're having a good time, and that extends up to the drivers. Jeff Brabham is really enjoying it. Now, here's what lap traffic can do to the GTP race. You're inside the second place car of Bob Wallach making his way around one of the Camel Lights cars. That was either Tom Hessert or David Loring, I believe. Now he accelerates away, but as you can see, nothing but empty racetrack in front of him. Jeff Brabham is flat gone. Bob Wallach out of Strasbourg, France, a former European endurance champion. He was late getting here to Portland. Listen to this story. He says he had to sign up for his new Jaguar dealership in France.
Aha. What car does he want to drive next year?
Think about that for a minute. Through turn 9 and on to the long front straightaways. Bob Wallach, there he is in his office doing his job.
That's a picture of Bob smiling there. See what There, he just resting his hand there, just made a little adjustment to his microphone, but he's really very relaxed. Just look at the possession. There he is now. See him dropping down a gear with his right hand. Look at the amount of movement he has to make with that hand, and even the amount of movement of the steering wheel. Very, very small increments. When he goes back to the gear shift, watch the distance that he has to have to move that. And now look at his eyes. He's picking out apex points where he wants to get right tight to the inside and then looking far, far ahead to make little tiny adjustments well in advance.
It looks as though
excellent.
Bob Wallach was on and off the gas, and you see the reason why there. He is pulling up right behind Jim Downing, and now he gets past him on the long backstretch. And he's got his collar open. Just another day at the office.
He really looks remarkably at ease right now, and I'm sure he is. He's a very experienced driver. But again, like, watch when he goes. Now, here we are, real tight corner, just right down the end of the track. He'll drop down. Okay, now we're going onto the straight. Now, watch when he reaches for the gear shift. Look at how short the movement is.
He's already made it.
There he goes, talking to the pits, and there he is into fifth gear right now. Now he's just running flat out, trying to get all 700 horsepower. Actually wishing he had 1,200 horsepower to catch the Nissan.
As he heads down to turn one, we'll take our leave of Bob Wallach and pause for a short commercial message. We'll be back for live sports car racing in Portland after this.
If you're like me, you want your engine to perform. You want it to run clean, and you don't want sludge. That's why you and I both need Quaker State with QSX. No other oil runs cleaner or fights sludge better. And the Quaker State I use in my car is the same oil you can buy right off the shelf for your car.
Quaker State. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
It's the Quaker State Porsche Sweepstakes and Rebate, and everybody wins. Mail in the rebate by August 5th, and you'll have $360 per case in your pocket, and maybe a Porsche in your garage.
Just how good are genuine GM parts? Good enough for Dale Earnhardt, three-time Winston Cup driving champion. And the same kind of quality that goes into the GM parts for his car goes into the GM parts for your car. So get the goods under your hood. Genuine GM parts from your General Motors dealer.
How do you describe new 7-Up Gold? Wild thing. You make my heart sing. You make everything groovy. Get a taste of the wild and unexpected new 7-Up Gold. Wild thing, I think I love you. Ow! You hear the thunder, the call of the road. No time to wonder, you gotta go.
Aggressively styled and powered to match. That's Grand Am.
Get on your Pontiac and ride, Pontiac ride.
Built with a feel for the road, Grand Am is sheer driving excitement.
Ride, Pontiac ride. Get on your Pontiac. We build excitement.
Back live at Portland International Raceway. Bob Barsha and Bill Adam with you. Jerry Garrett and Rick DeBrule on pit road for the 300-kilometer G.I. Joe's Camel Grand Prix. There is the number 83 Nissan of your leader, Jeff Brabham, who has won the last 6 straight Camel GT races, looking for an historic 7th today. He gets onto the long front straightaway, shifts up through the gearbox, reaching speeds of up to 180 miles an hour as he passes the flag stand. Big crowd on a delightfully sunny day here in America's Rose City, Portland, Oregon. Neat turn into one for Brabham, and it's been extraordinary this year, Bill Adam, how lucky the Nissan has been. As we jump inside the second place car of Bob Wallach, a good look there out the front, and you see the gap there now from Wallach back to the number 16 car of Price Cobb, who definitely seems to be closing in on second place.
Well, they're certainly going to make a run at it. Price would like to get up and maybe get by Bob. But I'm sure Bob is aware of exactly where he is, not only by watching his own mirrors, but from his crew chief as well. They're in constant touch with the radios, and they know what's happening with the car, what's happening with their competition, and whether to try going quicker or slower.
You saw the 4th place car there of John Morton and the 5th place Jaguar. Now, we expected Jaguars to be much more of a factor in the race today, and we need to find out more about why they're not. For that, let's go down to pit road and Jerry Garrett.
Well, this is the Jaguar that is not working today, and there was a plan at one time to run 3 Jaguars in this race. but the plan was scrapped at the 11th hour today because the crew decided they only had 2 pit crews. They had enough drivers to do this. They didn't have enough pit crews. And the Jaguar is one of those teams that hopes to be able to do this race in one stop. They say one 25-second fuel stop to the 2 that they anticipate the Nissan is going to use will win this race for them if they can remain competitive.
Well, we expect to go about an hour into the race, maybe a little bit less than that, before the pit stops start. And when they do, it's going to be real interesting to see who pits when and how quickly they can get in and out. Aside from the big lead enjoyed right now by Jeff Brabham, the battle further back, including this one involving Jaguar number 60, is hot indeed. Just in front of him is 4th place, John Morton. Just ahead of Morton is the 3rd place car of Price Cobb. Ahead of him, the 2nd place Porsche of Bob Wallach. On to the curving backstretch. Here they go. Can't really call it a straightaway.
No, it's really not a spot where you can do too much relaxing because you are in that long curve. And of course, if you happen to go off the grass there, just the speed you're doing, you're going to get into a lot of trouble.
Let me get back to the point I was making earlier about luck. Sure, the old racing cliche is you make your own luck, but it's been extraordinary how things have gone for Nissan. Earlier this year at Watkins Glen, they had a brake rotor fail, carved a hole in a tire. It happened in practice just before race day. A year ago, that would have happened in the race, would have knocked them out, no points at all, and the continuing myth of the fragility of the Nissan. And then at Road America, they had a similar problem, a blown turbo and morning warm-ups before the race, yet they were able to get back out there in perfect trim for the race and run away with it. So in addition to making your own luck, there's also a bunch out there that's bestowed on you by some higher power, and it's certainly gone that way for Nissan.
Oh, it's been a phenomenal year. They also had luck with flags and on-track incidents. At the Watkins Glen race, a good example, the Holbert Porsche with Derek Bell really had a nice lead and looked like they were going to have their first win to break the Nissan chain. What happens? A yellow flag comes out for an incident on track, and everybody bunched back up. Brabham subsequently went on to pass him and pulled off a good win. So they really do get a great deal of luck this year.
And back up front, here is your leader, Jeff Brabham. I think John Morton said it best. Yesterday he told me anybody on this racetrack would love to be driving for Team Nissan. We are the lucky 2 who are allowed to do so. In fact, they even get paid for it. What more could you ask?
Yeah, I went over and hitchhiked around the car for a while, but no luck yet.
No new drivers needed on this team. Jeff Brabham and John Morton doing just fine. Meanwhile, there's a battle going on further back, and that battle is for 2nd place. Bob Wallach in the number 67 BF Goodrich Porsche is beginning to fill up his mirrors with Price Cobb behind him in the number 16 car. Now, right now, he's got a lapper in between them. But Price Cobb appears to be closing that gap. Average speed in the race thus far, 113.8 miles an hour. That's a record. There you see the number 16 car of Price Cobb. He has Englishman James Weaver waiting in the wings should he need some help. But Price Cobb would like to drive this one solo. It takes too much time to change drivers, and this is a sprint race for what are basically endurance sport cars.
And you can see Price's mirrors are getting very, very big with a blue Nissan just sitting on his tail, and in turn on Morton's tail is that Jaguar. That's 3, 4, and 5 just sitting there, really waiting to get out a good battle. And they're going by the Ford probe there. Morton gave a little wiggle coming out of the corner there. He's trying to get on the power a little bit earlier to get a run going down the straight.
3 wide down the front straightaway. Morton took a look inside the number 16 car, but Price Cobb holds him off, and he's going to forget about Bob Wallach for a minute. He's got to worry about John Morton.
And you see the Jag just slid right up there inside the Ford probe, the Tom Milner racing probe.
There you see the race speed thus far. We are considerably ahead of the record speed of about 108 miles an hour. But then again, we haven't had the pit stops yet, and that will certainly affect average speed overall. Great battle here now as you see the Jaguar closing up. He wants a piece of this battle for 3rd place. Price Cobb in the number 16 car right there holds it. Behind him, John Morton wants it, and right behind him is that number 60 car, Martin Brundle, the former Formula One star from Great Britain.
It's very interesting, too, just watching the 2 chassis as they accelerated that corner. The Nissan visibly uses up less roadway. It is not sliding as much as the Jag. Now, let's watch here entering the front straight. They're both pretty well out. Very difficult to tell, but one of the tighter corners, the Jag used up about 5 feet more pavement. It is not sticking as well as the Nissan is sticking.
And certainly the Nissan got off the turn a lot better, the Jaguar. Look at the gap that he has already opened up as John Morton tries to hunt down Price Cobb. Supposedly the Jaguars were the cars that were best able to leap off the turns with that high torque 12-cylinder screamer back there behind the driver's head, but it doesn't look like it's the case against these Nissans.
No, the Jaguar motors with the normally aspirated induction systems, like fuel injection or a carbureted motor, they're much easier to drive through a series of corners because you've got immediate response, whereas the turbo has to spool up. It takes a moment to develop full boost. That helps the Jaguar, but the Nissan, the chassis is so good. Watch number 84 when it leaves a corner. You'll see it just seems to hook up everything, and it's gone immediately. Very, very little sideways motion. You rarely see that car leaving trails of rubber, whereas a lot of other cars do.
John Morton of El Segundo, California, had a look there. Martin Brundle tried to dip inside. Let's see if Brundle can hold the speed off 9 and get a jump on him down the straightaway. Doesn't look like he's going to get it. Meanwhile, Bryce Cobb swings around Jim Downing's car, and John Morton follows him through. Great battles going on all around the racetrack here at Portland, as John Morton continues to hound the number 16 car. They head down into turn one more time. Bryce Cobb looking back at John Morton. A big crowd looking on a day that is getting very, very warm. Jaguar boys have nice shade. We'll be right back.
Peninsula shoppers, take the long way home to our convenience stores in San Mateo, Redwood City, Belmont, and San Carlos. Enjoy this week's special, Smucker's Strawberry Jam, everyone's breakfast favorite, 32 ounces for only $1.99. Great prices, and you'll love our service. That's the Long's Way.
Savings and service every time. I'm taking the Long's Way home.
Smart shopping by credit card on CVN is the fastest way to get your order delivered to your home. When you order by using the following credit cards: Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover, Carte Blanche, and Diners Club, your order will be delivered within 5 to 10 working days from the time you place your order. Now that's convenience. It's that easy. Give us a call. CVN, the shopping channel.
Volkswagen engineers have developed a remarkable fuel injection system, which gives our Jetta 17% more horsepower than before, and top track speeds of over 100. Of course, there are those Volkswagen engineers who believe they've developed something no less remarkable. The brakes. German engineering, the Volkswagen way.
Why is NTW so driven to give you the right tire put on the right way? To help you maneuver properly. To deal with sudden stops. And handle the worst the road has to offer. But the most important reason we're so driven has to do with much more than roads, weather, or even tires.
Mommy, I'm getting wet. Hurry up. Come on.
Formula One action continues here on ESPN next Sunday live at 8:20 a.m. Eastern Time. You'll see the Grand Prix of Hungary from just outside Budapest. Chris Economaki and all the gang will be there to bring you, probably the latest victory by a McLaren. We talk about Jeff Brabham. How about what those guys are getting accomplished over there? Love that Formula One racing, but right now this is the object of the attentions of everyone in Portland, Oregon. Jeff Brabham out of Australia, having a gold-plated season in the number 83 red, white, and blue Nissan. His lead is about 22 seconds, but it's been there for about the last half dozen laps or so. Bill, what do you think? Maybe just they think 22 seconds is all it's going to take to get that gas stop they're going to need later?
Well, I expect what Jeff's probably doing right now is maybe shifting at a little lower RPM and trying to conserve fuel. If he can run the car a little softer. Oh, and there's second place GTP lights in the pits.
That's the number 97 car of Skeeter McKittrick. He had contact with someone out on the racetrack, the 01 car, we are told, being driven by Charles Morgan. So Skeeter McKittrick, a winner earlier this year at Lime Rock, has got himself into the pits with a problem. Looks like all the attention is going to be paid to the rear wheels, tires, and suspension. Maybe some body work on the far side. You see 3 guys are over there poking their hands into the right rear wheel well.
Yeah, it doesn't appear there's any real problem with it, though, thankfully.
Well, it's going to cost him a couple of positions, but meanwhile, up front, things are going real well for your leader by 22 seconds, Jeff Brabham in the number 83 Nissan.
Also, if we have any new-time viewers that are seeing this little burst of flame out the back, that's really not anything to worry about. The turbocharger, when it gets spinning so quickly, just spits raw fuel through and the hot exhaust is igniting it. That's no trouble at all.
Now there you see the number 19. It's a Tiger with Buick power being driven by Tom Hessert, an auto dealer out of California. They've had a real weekend. Tom's wife is at home in New Jersey this weekend expecting a baby at any moment. So if you're watching Mrs. Hessert, hope things are going well.
Actually, Tom sent a message to Debbie. He says, wait till he gets home.
Yeah, right. Meanwhile, their crew chief, Buddy Donnelly, is recuperating from a heart attack in a hospital in Atlanta, Georgia. Doctors have given him special permission to watch this race on TV. So, Buddy, the whole crew says hi, get well soon. We hope you're enjoying the race. Hasn't been a great weekend. 4th place right now for the boss, Tom Hessert. And David Loring a little bit further behind him in the number 9 car. Winners thus far at Daytona and Sebring. Tom Hessert is now the points leader in the Camel Lights class, but he's having trouble maintaining on that. There you see the sign for Buddy, signed by all the crew. We hope everything's going well back in Atlanta. Points leader Tom Hessert, after a couple of victories in the long races at Daytona and Sebring, has been having some rotten luck since then. Hasn't been able to score an awful lot. They're worried about getting points. They've been thrashing around with the cars some, but he still does hold that lead by 15 points over Jim Downing and Howard Katz. Back up front to your leader, Jeff Brabham, Noblesville, Indiana.
Now watch the acceleration here. Just shoot. Goodbye.
Good example of the power differential between the GTP cars and the lights machines. Meanwhile, here is the number 14 car. We haven't called Chip Robinson's number much today. He has been out of the top 5 for much of the day. The crew has had a terrible time getting his car set up, and they have decided to go back to their older chassis. They have 2 cars here. This is a much older car. This is the car that has won the 3 previous races coming in here at Portland. Twice by car owner Al Holbert, once by Chip Robinson, who drove solo last year.
Yeah, I really couldn't tell what was going on there. They had that left front wheel off, and one of the crewmen was reaching in. It appeared to the upper control arm on the right, on the left front suspension, shaking it to see if anything was loose. So Chip either felt a tire deflating or a suspension piece coming loose, but he wanted it checked.
Difficult weekend for Chip Robinson. It's been a difficult season after the great one he had last year, winning his first Camel GT championship. It's been tough thus far this year. They've blown 3 engines, including one at Daytona and one at Sebring. Very, very uncommon for Al Holbert's team. They usually run a picture-perfect operation. But that also, I think, is an example, Bill, of just how hard some teams are having to stretch their cars to stay up with the Nissans.
Well, we had talked earlier about this team's luck, the number 83 Nissan just having phenomenal luck. Holbert Racing in the past have had absolutely remarkable luck. They have been the recipients of so many victories. Now the tide has just changed a little bit, and Nissan is getting the luck.
Now here, once again, we're inside the B.F. Goodrich Porsche with Bob Wallach driving, catching up. I believe that's John Hotchkiss, yes, number 10 wins Porsche out in front of him. Now let's see how the gap holds as they go down the front straightaway.
Right, now that is a 962 Porsche right in front as well, with a different motor builder and a little bit different chassis. And you can watch how the 2 cars compare. Look at Wallach just dove to the inside, past him under braking. Very, very clean, safe move at that point on the track.
Test the guts right there, going down into turn 1 and trying to get him slowed down. There you see Bob at work.
Yeah, he's still smiling. He's enjoying himself. This is really a good, safe track where you can make a mistake and not damage your car. We've seen a lot of incidents so far where people have gone off on the grass and just driven around a little bit and spread some hay here and there, and not even body damage.
Bob Wallach, one of the great athletes in the Camel GT series, a former member of the French national ski team, and he's also the last guy you want to challenge to a little Nassau, play a little tennis for some money. There you see the gap back to the ongoing battle for 4th position. That is John Morton. Right behind him, he has got Martin Brundle all over him. They're having a heck of a dice back there.
Yeah, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And you just saw Price Kopp just go to our picture there at that point. They have really stayed very, very close. Brundle almost looks in pain. Now see, right there, you just saw the car get a little bit sideways. He looks like he's getting a little impatient. He's trying to get on the gas just that fraction earlier, like every time, just trying to pick up one more little piece. But look what happens on the straight. When the Nissan gets the run, can get all the power down, pulls away from the Jag.
John Morton playing the pinball here between the 3rd place car of Price Kopp and the 5th place car of Martin Brundle, alternately threatening and being threatened by the cars ahead of him and behind him. Meanwhile, let's see if we can catch up on what's happening to Chip Robinson. He's back on the racetrack. Meanwhile, in Robinson's pit, Rick DeBrule has more on his situation.
What went wrong? He came in and changed 4 tires. Why so?
Well, we had a little trouble in practice to get the chassis set up just right. We're just pumping the tires, loading the tires very quickly.
Why didn't you get the chassis
it badly, but the grip had gone away, and we were just backing up.
Okay, Kevin Durant.
Boy, it has been a thrash for those guys this weekend. The faster car, the newer car that he mentioned, they're taking the engine out of that car as we speak. They're going to send it to get tested on a dynamometer and try and have it ready for our coverage of the Sears Point Grand Prix coming up in 2 weeks. But boy, it has been a tough West Coast trip thus far for Al Holbert's team.
Very, very untypical year for Holbert Racing. They have always been just the perfect Porsche team.
And look at the battle we've got now. Martin Brundle absolutely all over John Morton. This is terrific stuff. Brundle, who had so many great Formula One races for Ken Tyrrell, and then a disappointing couple of years with the Zach Speed team before he finally hung it up. Much like Jeff Brabham wants to go back to a quality IndyCar team, Martin Brundle wants to go back to a quality Formula One team someday. Right now, he's real happy driving the Castrol American Jaguar team.
Yeah, Brundle's driving very, very hard right now. He's really getting in deep under braking. The car's wiggling and bouncing all over the place. Just look at this. It's throwing the car in the corners. And again, you can see the stiff springing we keep talking about with the Jaguar. They almost look like a solid axle go-kart. They just kind of bounce through a corner. The Nissan, by comparison, is very fluid.
Well, I don't know why anybody needed binoculars up there in the stands. There aren't too many seats very far from the racetrack here at Portland, as you can see. And John Morton once more down the long straightaway, right up behind Price Cobb as they dive into turn one. I hope you've enjoyed our ESPN live coverage of the G.I. Joe's Campbell Grand Prix. Bob Barsha and Bill Adam with you. Tuned in, expecting to see our regular colleagues, Ken Squire and Dave Despain. They would have loved to have been here, but they were indisposed. Coming up on traffic now, the battle continues. This may be the break that John Morton and Martin Brundle both need. There you see Jim Downing in the 63 car to the left of your picture. Momentarily a roadblock, but he got out of the way nicely, and the battle continues among the P cars.
Well, Downing is somebody these fellas can trust absolutely, totally. Very, very experienced driver. And look at this. There we got a pass right there. Now, Price Cobb just got blocked in behind the Wins 962 Porsche. It takes a fraction of a second, and that's what happens.
And so John Morton got the break he needed. Now let's see if he can open up any kind of a lead as they get out onto the front straightaway there. Let's see if maybe just trying to catch Price wasn't all the problem that Morton had. Maybe he has a lot more car under him, and let's see if he can motor away from him. It looks like he can.
I would think he would try to do just that at this point, to get himself a little bit of a break, so that if something happens, if traffic happens to hold him, he's not going to lose that position.
Okay, we're down here in the pits with Kaz Kasner. He's been keeping lap times on both Jeff Brabham and John Morton. We're just talking about the fact that the Jaguar is about to catch up to him. He's trying to take some pit times right here. You were saying you think Morton can pull away easily.
No, I didn't see he could pull away easily, but I think he can certainly pull away when he needs to.
No, it isn't a problem that the Jaguar is catching up.
Not halfway yet.
Any problems at all with Morton's car?
Not at all. Nothing at all.
Kaz Kasner, man of few words. What's the difference between being able to pull away easily and being able to pull away when you want to, Bill?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, at any rate, Price Cobb right there, right behind them. You see the Jaguar. Martin Brundle not out of it yet. And there was another Porsche coming in the picture. I didn't get a close look at. That's Chip Robinson, who has been lapped. I take it as a lap down to the guys who have just passed him. Down they go, down into turn one. And John Morton knocks off the Wins car, the number 10 Porsche, and puts lap traffic between himself and Price Cobb, with the Jaguar of Martin Brundle behind them. So that makes the order of Jeff Brabham, Bob Wallach, John Morton, Price Cobb, and Martin Brundle. There you see Jeff Brabham having things all his own way. His lead is now up to 32 seconds. You're watching live in Portland.
At Volkswagen, our engineers believe car and driver should not merely act, but interact. To them, a Volkswagen isn't a vehicle for the driver, but rather an extension of the driver. Our engineers believe the most important moving part of a Volkswagen is the one behind the wheel. German engineering, the Volkswagen way.
Every day, Jack Taylor and Joe Donovan take the same road home. But today, they went a little out of their way.
Give you a hand.
Here's to you, the clean, crisp taste of Beechwood-aged Budweiser.
This Bud's.
For all the guys who go out of their way.
This Bud's for you.
This year's challenge has courtroom controversy and revolutionary design. ESPN takes an in-depth look at all the drama and intrigue of the Road to the America's Cup. Monday nights at 8 Eastern on ESPN.
Dramatic turn of events at Portland. You see Chip Robinson, who's having trouble getting the number 14 car fired. He had just gone off the racetrack in a 3-car melee that appears to be down in the turn 3 and 4 area. And he's going to get back onto the racetrack. Let's see if we can see any obvious damage to the race car. Looks like the right front corner has taken a beating. Here's the end of what happened in replay. Watch the left side of your screen.
Now, there's 3 cars going on. That's the Wittens, the Hotchkiss Adams Porsche 962. Chip Robinson sitting there with his back towards us, and the number 70, our hero, is off.
The lights car of Hiro Matsushita also involved. Boy, what a day Chip Robinson has had. He continues around the race course, and the car looks to be all right, except for that black eye. He's got a little shiner in the right front corner. Now, we'll try and take another look at it from our in-car. There is Bob Wallach, who was motored into the pits while we were a commercial. Oh, that's a crewman in the car. Bob Wallach came in with the belts off before he even got the car stopped and immediately climbed out of the car. It sounded awful. Let's see if we can find out more from Rick DeBrule, who's in the pits.
Oh, Bob Wallach, what happened?
Engine blew. Just blew up. I don't know what it is, but it's making a funny noise, which isn't the right way. The right noise for this engine.
Did you have any warnings at all, or was it sudden?
Well, for 2 or 3 laps, I could hear that something was starting to break, and then eventually it broke. There was nothing I could do, so it just kept going.
And so Bob Wallach, tough break. We are 5 laps from halfway, and the BFG car out of the race. One of 2 cars in the race who had their engines prepared by drag racing expert Ed Pink, putting together some fine Porsche motors, but that one just overextended a little bit today.
Maybe that's why Bob was driving so relaxed, that he thought there might be something terminal. And
well, the shame of it is that we lose that wonderful in-car camera from the BFG car. We still do have one in the race, though, in the number 70 Camel Lights machine of Hiro Matsushita. Meanwhile, here is your leader, Jeff Brabham, making his way around in good shape. A lead of more than half a minute. When we last checked, he had more than a 40-second lead over the 3rd place car and some 45 seconds back to the 4th place car. Now, let's see if we can get another angle of what happened to the number 14 car of Chip Robinson. Here he is going side by side with Martin Brundle down to turn 1.
That's right at the end of the straight, 180 miles an hour, and they're just on the brakes right here, but look at this traffic. Oh, Chip, slow down. Never mind, it's too late.
Oh, what a shot he gave. That is Jim Adams on the number 10 car that he shares with John Hotchkiss.
That is just simply brain fade on Chip's part. He was watching the Jaguar alongside him and went past his braking markers. There are markers on the side of the track they try and use for consistency to get as deep into the corner as possible. And you experiment during practice to find out how close you can go, how long can you carry speed. Chip went obviously well past that point.
Chip has been into the pits getting the nose replaced. Apparently the car is okay, but boy, what a lick he gave Jim Adams right there.
Mr. Holbert won't be happy when he sees that.
And you saw that the number 70 of Hiro Matsushita was not involved in the actual tangle. He motored out onto the grass to take evasive action. Meanwhile, up front, Jeff Brabham continues. Good look up the back straightaway, which of course is not straight. Let's just call it the backside.
The curve away.
And we have our in-car look at what happened to that now, courtesy of Hiro Matsushita and our Panasonic in-car. He's coming up behind the incident. Look up in front. There is the spin. Let's see how Hiro decides he's going to do this.
I think I'll just go straight through here. It looks like a nice path across this grass.
See the exit sign for US 5 over there on the right.
Whoop. Hiro just got a little excited there. He thought he'd better take another view for us and was kind enough to furnish us more films of the car sitting here.
Well, now, having wrapped that one up, let's get back to the action up front. And there you see Jeff Brabham in a tight moment there, diving underneath Bruce Levin's Porsche. And he is moving up now behind the number 15 Collegian Racing 962.
The Bruce Levin car you see right behind the number 83. Bruce qualified extremely well today and claimed that he got the over 50 pole position. So congratulations, Bruce.
Bruce has been running Porsches for a long time, and I'm sure he will continue to. Sold his original business. Now he enjoys life as a fisherman, owner of a commuter airline, and he races his Porsches. Oh, now here's the other Corvette. Remember, Cyril van der Merwe has already removed the 52 car. This is the number 22 being driven by Bobby Rahal, and Rick DeBrule is with him now in the pits.
Bobby Rahal, you just stepped out of the car. It looks terminal. What's the problem?
The car was running pretty good. It was a little loose, but
I think I lost the piston because I got down to the end of the straight and just made a big pop, and smoke was coming up behind and what have you, and just that was it.
As far as the course and the way things have been going today, is the course in good shape? Have there been any problems out?
Well, I don't know. I had my hands full, so I don't know how good or bad it was. But, we were in there. We weren't running for the lead, obviously, but looking for a good finish, and just didn't happen today.
And so add one more to the list of attrition. That puts both Rick Hendrick Corvettes out of the running with their normally aspirated V8 power. And that's a shame. Those are great cars to watch and to listen to.
Yeah. Sounds like sort of a material problem. Both Searle and he went out with the same thing.
Now we are approaching the halfway point as Jeff Brabham shoots down the backstretch with a big lead over the rest of the field. Thus far, the race has been absolutely no problem. Oh, let's go down to Jerry Garrett.
Well, this is the second pit stop for the Jaguar team now. The first car was in here last lap. Jan Lammers got out. This is the second car. They're all going to, as we said earlier, try to make one 25-second stop here if they feel like they get in and out of 25 seconds, just do one stop, and they can win this race. They can overcome the horsepower advantage that the Nissan has. We got the clock on this stop right now. It's routine. They're out of the pit in 23 seconds.
And so that may play well for the Jaguar team. They are back out onto the racetrack, and they made their change exactly at halfway. And I've got to wonder, Bill Adams, since they're seeing many of these American racetracks for the first time, if they just decide, well, we'll just try to split the difference in a race like this, go halfway, change over, and put another guy in for the rest of the distance, or if it is carefully calculated based on fuel consumption and all the other esoteric things that racers worry about.
Well, sometimes they will do that in a multi-car team, just so that you avoid any possibility of getting 2 or 3 cars with the same team all coming in at once. That would be total disaster. But usually, you try and go as far as you possibly can in the event of a yellow flag coming out where you can get a stop under caution. That's the biggest advantage when you can get one like that. So I really don't understand them coming in quite that early, and it doesn't really bode well as far as fuel economy either.
Well, either way, this is the man that they seek to catch, Jeff Brabham. Since we are at halfway, we expect to see the pit stop starting very soon. Jaguar has already been in. Now, a couple of cars, notably Chip Robinson, have had problems that have brought them in previously. That's going to throw their pit strategy out of sync. Whether or not Robinson could go the rest of the way, having already made a stop, remains to be seen. However, this is the car that we will be watching, Jeff Brabham, to see when he stops and how long he will stop, to see if Jaguar has come up aces.
Yeah, it's quite surprising. Again, we have talked about a turbocharged car not getting as good mileage as a normal car, and yet Brabham has outlasted one of the Jags.
And we've got the Nissan 84 in the pits. Let's go down to Rick DeBrule.
John Morton coming into the pits. This is a routine stop. They have lifted the car. They're changing the tires. They're putting all 4 tires on 4 new tires, cleaning the windshield at the same time. This is the way it was scheduled. They were hoping to go as long as they could. Originally, they had hoped maybe a full course yellow might have come out to allow them a little earlier, but this is where they're at. Coming in now, going a little bit long. They finally let it down off the jack. They pull away the fuel hose, and John Morton is back out on the track.
Okay, interesting strategy development now. Did they bring the 84 car in first because they had to, or simply because they wanted to give the team a little rehearsal, a little dress rehearsal for the main car driven by Jeff Brabham?
Well, it could be that dress rehearsal part too, but I think they still want to hope for a yellow flag. If a yellow flag came out this lap, for example, Brabham would have a tremendous advantage in that he could stop and make almost a leisurely stop.
Of course, they didn't want to have both cars in the pits at the same time. That would be the ultimate disaster, but no disasters thus far in 1988 for Nissan. And here is your leader, Jeff Brabham. His teammate has already made the stop comfortably. And will await the pit stop by Brabham and the other leading cars. In second position is Price Cobb. We have, having lost the BFG car of Bob Wallach. John Morton is in third, a lap down after his pit stop, followed by Martin Brundle in the Jaguar. Now here comes your leader. Jeff Brabham is pitting. We'll get the watch on it. Let's see how long it takes. Here's Rick DeBrule.
Jeff Brabham comes into the pit. Once again, this is routine. They're going to change 3 tires, apparently. They're going to change the front tires and the left rear. They are not changing the right rear tire. Interesting to point out, this is the first time they've had to change tires on 2 different cars. But they've got 2 sets of crews that are doing this. One crew just did the Morton stop. There is a second crew that is now doing the Brabham stop. Now they've gone ahead and they have changed that right rear tire as well. So all 4 tires, cleaning the windshield, fueling up as much as possible. The tires are on. They're waving them down and waving them away. 28.9 for the stop. A little long, but they got everything done.
Well, now we'll have to see if the overwhelming speed advantage of the Nissan will bear them through. Now, to the right of your screen is Bryce Cobb in the white car. Jeff Brabham is going to get out just car lengths in front of the second-place car. So Jeff Brabham does hold on to the lead, but just barely over Bryce Cobb. We may have seen the turning point in the race right there because Cobb has yet to stop.
Really remarkable. You can just see how big a lead Brabham has been able to get, and that he made a stop, a 30-second stop, and gets back out before the second-place car can even come around.
Well, we knew his lead was something over 30 seconds, and they took just about all of it, getting Jeff Brabham safely serviced and back out into the race. Quickly, he puts another lap on one of the Hessert-Loring Lights cars. 9 Lights cars are still on the lead lap with the leader in their class. I doubt that very many of them at all are on the lead lap with the overall leader of the Nissan team. Jeff Brabham leading Bryce Cobb. The battle continues here at Portland International Raceway. Good look there at Evergreen, Colorado's Bryce Cobb. Having a great day. Now, Cobb, I believe, is going to pit. Now, this is the second-place car coming on to pit road. And he comes in very hot indeed, sliding up to the Dyson Racing pit. James Weaver over the wall in the black and white helmet, and they will make a driver change. Bryce Cobb hops out with the white helmet. In goes James Weaver from England.
That is very surprising. I don't understand why they would even do that today. Price is obviously in good enough condition to do a race of this length, and I don't think Weaver is quite as fast a driver as Price is.
And Bryce Cobb hops back up onto the pit wall. Good, quick pit stop by the Dyson Racing crew. They had a heartbreaking race at Watkins Glen when they got all the way to their final pit stop and were running third in the late going when they had a suspension part break. Otherwise, they might be much higher in the standings as well. Here comes Englishman James Weaver back onto the racetrack. And let's take a timeout to bring you our Volkswagen mid-race recap. Brought to you by your dealers of the 1988 Volkswagens. Your leader, Jeff Brabham, as he has been from the get-go here at Portland. The average speed, 112.76 miles an hour. That is under record pace, but keep in mind, excuse me, that is above the record pace, well above. And since we've had the pit stops, we can anticipate we may smash that record today. But one leader, no caution flags, which is pretty remarkable in view of all the tight racing we've seen. 22 cars remain in the race, 7 are out. 4 are on the lead lap, and as we mentioned, 9 cars still on the lights lap. There's Sarel van der Merwe, took the Corvette out early, followed by one of the lights cars of Gerald Parker, Moretti in the Buick, and Jeff Klein in the Pontiac. Steve Durst is out of the race with his Buick-powered car. Bob Wallach, you saw our in-car camera, gone for the day. Bobby Rahal took the second Corvette back to the paddock, and Tom Pompelli is out with one of the Ford-powered racers as well. We'll be back for more live racing from Portland International Raceway. It's the Camel GT on ESPN. We'll be right back.
Volkswagen engineers have developed a remarkable fuel injection system, which gives our Jetta 17% more horsepower than before, and top track speeds of over 100. Of course, there are those Volkswagen engineers who believe they've developed something no less remarkable. The brakes. German engineering, the Volkswagen way.
Be at Goodrich Update 14 with Bob Strange, test engineer. Subject, racing dynamics.
Often tires can be the deciding factor in a race, but they must be made to work in conjunction with the suspension and aerodynamics of the car. Here to explain further is team owner Jim Busby.
There are many factors that will determine how well the modern-day racing car will get its power to the ground. We use tires as a tuning device. We also have adjustments for caster, camber, toe-in, toe-out, and ground clearance that will also help that in performance. We can use chassis rake and a combination of wing angles to determine the aerodynamic downloading on the car. By changing any one of these devices or adjustments, we're capable of changing the handling characteristics radically on the car.
Thanks, Jim. Racing in cars such as this, and under these widely varying conditions, helps us to bring you a better high-performance tire.
Be at Goodrich TAs. Tested tough to make your car perform.
August sizzles with sports excitement on ESPN. The NFL is back. See 4 live preseason showdowns. And golf swings into its final Grand Slam event, the PGA Championship. August serves up great tennis. Olympic hopefuls going all out in tune-ups for the summer games. And auto racing from the world's most prestigious tracks. Plus, live Wednesday night PBA Tour action. The heat is on in August on ESPN.
Back
here in Portland in the pits with Bryce Cobb, who elected to get out of his car today and let James Weaver take over. Why?
Well, we really thought that if there was no problems, and there don't seem to be any at the moment, and if we weren't under any tremendous pressure, that given opportunity, we put James in the car to keep him up in the championship.
You were talking about you didn't quite have the handling set up for today. Why is that?
Well, it seems to me you can never guess what the track's going to be like for the race. And some of the people, I think, gambled, the Jaguars, for example, gambled that it would be slippery, and I think that was the right choice. But it's funny, up until now, it hadn't really been slippery at all, regardless of the heat. So we gambled a little bit wrong, but we're still not showing, we're not paying for it yet, so we're happy.
Okay, Bryce Cobb, one of the great racers in the series right now, drove for Jaguar at Le Mans, said there's a tremendous difference between the Porsche he's used to, which you see right there in the hands of James Weaver, and the Jaguar that he drove at Le Mans. Meanwhile, here is your leader, Jeff Brabham. Pit stops have been the story here thus far at Portland. There was going to be one for just about everybody. The question remains whether there will be two for this team, and that is a drama that has yet to play out. But they had about a 30-second lead. They used all of it to get Brabham fueled up, get tires on 3 of the 4 wheels. As he mentioned, they did not take the wheel off the right rear, the tire that is taking the least beating on this predominantly right-hand course. Bill, your estimation of their pit stop?
Well, I think they seem to take a little bit longer than other teams on the pit stops, but they are so good. We watched a pit stop competition here yesterday, and they've been working very hard on that. The best teams around are Holbert Racing, which really do an outstanding job, and it's so critical. A second or two lost here, as we saw earlier, can make a wild difference on the track.
And certainly the speed of this car makes up for any problems in the pits. They have a contest, as Bill mentioned, sponsored by Kodak. Let's take a look at how it went here at Portland. Here's Rick DeBrule.
In the 10th round of the Kodak Copiers Pit Crew Cup, it was the number 15 Calagian Porsche crew up against the bunch from the number 83 Electromotive Nissan. The job here to change 4 tires, clean the windshield, change drivers, and simulate a refueling all as quickly as possible. Both teams start quickly, but the Calagian pit crew is having a little problem. The air jacks under the car won't lift it. You can see the frustration as they search for the problem, knowing all the while the Nissan crew is already up and changing tires. In fact, having no trouble at all. And they come away with an easy victory. Their time, by the way, not only good enough for a victory, it is a new record for the season. 19.197 seconds. That breaks the old mark of 19.67 seconds. It was set by the Holbert Racing team at Watkins Glen earlier this month. But first, the official goes out and makes sure all the wheels are tight enough that there were no shortcuts. And yes, it's official. The Nissan team has won. They get the $2,000 from the $2,500 purse here and a chance to go for the $20,000 grand prize in the Kodak Copier Pit Crew 4-team shootout that'll happen at the end of the season.
And we should also point out that they pick up 500 miles toward endurance prize that Kodak Copiers puts up for the car covering the most racing miles through the year, $50,000 a reward for that one. We'll be back with further racing as Don Devendorf and the Nissan crew look on. You're watching live at Portland. Don't go away.
NorCal Gym has something for everyone who wants to be in shape. Personalized programs for weight loss, overall fitness, bodybuilding, and general lifting. NorCal's 8,000 square foot facility has over 100 custom machines designed with and for serious lifters. But with all that NorCal has to offer, you'll still get a great deal because there's no initiation fee. Just $30 a month or $200 yearly rate. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, you'll be welcome at NorCal Gym, 1475 Old County Road in Belmont.
Bay Area baseball is Major League. Bay Area Honda dealers are Major League. The A's of the Giants' goals are to be #1 in the division. Your Honda dealer's goal is to stay #1 in import car sales with a summer sale of the import cars of the year. And your Honda dealer's inventory has been sweetened with a special factory shipment of Accord sedans and the all-new Accord coupes. Get your summer sale deal now at your Northern California Honda dealer.
At Volkswagen, our engineers believe car and driver should not merely act, but interact. To them, a Volkswagen isn't a vehicle for the driver, but rather an extension of the driver. Our engineers believe the most important moving part of a Volkswagen is the one behind the wheel. German engineering, the Volkswagen way.
ESPN coverage of the G.I. Joe's Grand Prix from Portland, Oregon is being brought to you by the 1988 German-engineered Volkswagens and your Volkswagen dealers. by Budweiser, proud sponsor of the 1988 U.S. Olympic team. This Bud's for you. On a beautiful, well, kind of steamy day here in Portland, temperature rapidly climbing up to 90 degrees. Your leader, Jeff Brabham, is one cool customer. He has been in and out of the pits in a 30-second stop that he never lost the lead while the team completed. The question is, though, will he have to come back and make a second stop? Virtually none of the other big prototype cars will have to do that. And we've got a problem on pit road. There is star-crossed Chip Robinson. The bonnet is off the back of the car. Kevin Durand to the left of the car there, peering down on the Porsche engine, trying to figure out what the problem might be. My heart really goes out to the defending Camel GT champion. They have really had a time of it this week in Portland. But I guess with all those wins, you can't feel sorry for them when the luck starts to turn. It's on the Nissan team's shoulders now.
Well, it really is, and it's something that is well-deserved by them. They have obviously done all of their job. The engineering has been done properly because the car works so well, and their crew must be doing just an outstanding, a fantastic job to have a car winning 6 straight races.
Well, they certainly need a fantastic job there for Chip Robinson. In fact, his car has been smoking so much this weekend, the local media have referred to him as Smokey Robinson all week. However, we make light of these terrible situations for drivers. Meanwhile, Jeff Brabham, no problem whatever as he takes the turn onto the front straightaway again, and let's see him go by at high level in the beautiful red, white, and blue number 83 Nissan. Coming up on lap traffic, let's see, he may try the pass coming down here into turn 1. Everything's gone his way thus far. Will he do it? Lights car out in front of him.
See that? He's being so cautious. Really, really an intelligent driver. Wants to risk the car as little as possible to pick the safest possible place for passes.
There you see the number 84 car. That is Brabham's teammate John Morton coming onto the long front straightaway. This was the scene of a world record yesterday as Robbie Knievel, son of famous daredevil Evel Knievel, went out here and jumped 22 cars for some unimaginable, well, I can think of 50,000 reasons why he did it. That was the published fee that he was paid according to the local newspapers. He gets $50,000 for 5 minutes of riding his motorcycle, and there's $30,000 to win this race. Am I missing something here, Bill?
I think we're all missing something, but I wouldn't do it for $50,000. I went down and watched it. No, thank you.
And you'll notice that we're not showing that to you as well. The rights to that particular event were owned by a bunch of folks who said that they'd just as soon keep them to themselves, and so they will. Meanwhile, the race on the racetrack, as you see the lights car raising a little bit of dust there, getting passed by James Weaver there, but Weaver's got problems of his own because he has already been passed by the Jaguar. So make the order, Jeff Brabham, John Morton, John Nielsen, who would love nothing better than to reel in Jeff Brabham and recapture some of those valuable points. James Weaver now has Bryce Cobb's Porsche in 4th position, and the Jaguar of Davy Jones is in 5th position. The car is looking very, very good. John Nielsen having a good day with the Jaguar. Let's go down to the pits now and Jerry Garrett to find out why.
We're down in the Jaguar pits right now where the concern is tires, not fuel. And Martin Brundle, who's just gotten out of his stint in the car, can tell us a little bit about what the tire concern is.
Yeah, we're grinding up the left rear tire a little bit under traction. We're running absolute minimum downforce to try and get down the straights and keep up with the turbos, and it's giving our rear tires a hard time.
Now, you've got enough fuel, even though you stopped before the Nissan, to beat the Nissan to the finish on fuel, but you're concerned now that whether you have enough tires to last. Is that right?
Yeah, we've got plenty of fuel. The Nissan can have some of ours if he needs it, but he looks like he's on a Sunday afternoon ride with the family and kids. We've got no problems. I think we're now into 3rd place. We just haven't got the horsepower to test the Nissans today, so I guess we'll be somewhat satisfied with 3rd. It'll be about the best we can do here, but we don't go away happy.
Well, there's a suspicion down here that the Nissan might try to do this race on one pit stop.
Well, as you can tell, Martin Brundle is not from Alabama. In fact, he is a driver that represents 11 countries, or at least there are drivers representing 11 countries from 5 continents in today's race, and cars and engine combinations from just about as many different locations. IMSA has recently introduced new engine and weight rules for next year in order to get more engine and car combinations into the series. And I have prepared a detailed explanation of how that all works, and we'll get to that a little bit later in the day. Meanwhile, you're watching as the leader, Jeff Brabham, makes his way around with a substantial lead at this point over John Morton. So it is Nissan 1-2, and Morton said yesterday to me that that would be the realization of a dream for Nissan, for them to go 1-2. And when you think about it, Bill, I guess there's no reason why they shouldn't. They've just got these cars tuned to perfection.
Well, they have fought such a long battle that we spoke of it before. They had a car that initially, when it came out, looked like this, but it was a great deal of problems, and they have never, ever given up. They just keep refining and refining, and this evolutionary process kept going on. They now have an extremely solid, well-proven car. Very, very good racing machine.
And that car is a bit heavier. IMSA rules recently demanded that each of the turbocharged cars add some weight to them. The Nissan put that extra weight on. It hasn't affected them much. Later on, they'll have to restrict their turbocharger a little bit in 1989. We'll see how that affects them. But I asked Don Devendorf about that. He kind of shrugged and said, well, you know, those are the rules, and we'll certainly develop our car to meet them. Right now, it looks like they've got a great jump on 1989 as Jeff Brabham leads the way. Brabham, the holder of an FIA-registered super license, which means he could go to a Formula One race and drive tomorrow if he wanted to. He said what he would like to do is drive in his home Australian Grand Prix. Meanwhile, we go back to the battle for fourth place on the racetrack. James Weaver was already lost third place to John Nielsen of the Jaguar. Now is in danger of losing fourth place to Davy Jones out of Cortland, New York. With the headlights on behind him, see him moving up quickly.
What the headlights are actually doing, he's not using this for vision himself, but it sometimes helps you going through traffic. If somebody just glances in their mirror and suddenly gets a glare of headlights, it's just like sun reflecting off a car when you're driving on the highway. You notice that car that much faster, just to help him through traffic, a little bit of safety.
And coming down, Davy Jones pulls a little bit closer to James Weaver. Let's see if turn one is where he'll try to outbrake. No, can't get close enough. Davy Jones, a star of the Super B ranks, did some formula driving and open-wheel cars in Europe. Great young American racer who was selected by the Jaguar team specifically, I think, because he was American, and they wanted to have a strong American presence. A lot of the mechanics are Americans. A lot of the British-sounding directors of the team have lived in America for some time as Jaguar extends its world championship technology across the racing world. You see Chip Robinson back on the race course, having fixed his car, but he is well down in the pack. Jeff Brabham is your leader, and we'll be right back.
Volkswagen engineers have developed a remarkable fuel injection system, which gives our Jetta 17% more horsepower than before, and top track speeds of over 100. Of course, there are those Volkswagen engineers who believe they've developed something no less remarkable. The brakes. German engineering, the Volkswagen way.
Many years, they've carried our beer. A special breed. Delivering a special brand. Today, the Clydesdales also carry a message. One of consistency. Care. Of natural ingredients and exclusive beechwood aging, which give Budweiser that distinctively clean, crisp taste. The Clydesdales. Today, they carry our message of quality.
On a warm day in Portland, Oregon, Jeff Brabham stands at the threshold of extending history at the IMSA Camel GT Series. He might, and I emphasize might, win his 7th straight race in the 1988 season. A terrific effort for this great young driver from Australia, now living in Indiana. And you're watching it here live on ESPN. Bob Marsh and Bill Adam with you at our announce position. Rick DeBrule and Jerry Garrett are on pit road. Now we go inside our Panasonic Lights car. Fourth place in class is young Hiro Matsushita of Japan. There's a look outside the window as he makes his way into turn 9 and closes up quickly on a car in front of him, then out onto that long straightaway, Bill.
Yeah, old Hiro's having a good time there. He's driving very comfortably. Look at his hands on the wheel. He's not clenching it. What you tend to do when you get into a race car, your first. And now there, just watching those cars blast past, pull out GTP cars. Look at the difference in speed. I think that was number 6. It is. The 16 and 61 right there. The James Weaver Porsche, and 61 is Davy Jones in that car.
That was our hero's view of the battle for 4th place on the racetrack between James Weaver out of England and Davy Jones of New York in a battle at this point won by Weaver as they get onto the twisty, slow part of the race course. But the Jaguar has been lurking back there like the big cat it's named for, and we may see Davy Jones take a shot at James Weaver before too long.
Well, Weaver actually has a problem. He's got a misfire that the engine has picked up. It happened about 10 laps after he took over from Price Cobb. At this point, there's really not much they can do with it. They're just simply going to ride it out and see if he can last till the end.
Boy, not a splendid position to be in with a tiger like Davy Jones on your tail. You saw Jones was going to take a shot to the inside of the back straight, but he was balked by a slower car. Right now, James Weaver is onto the front straightaway. Let's see what happens as Davy Jones tries to close up. It looks like he's able to do it pretty easily, Bill.
Yeah, I think he is actually closing on the straight. He might take a shot under braking at the end. No, just decided not to. James got in good and deep into that corner there before he got on the brakes. But look at this. Interesting study of the two cars through that corner. Now, we were told that the Jags are using a very low downforce package. That means that they've tilted the wing as close to being flat as they can safely go to try and get that straight line speed, and yet he visibly closed up on the Porsche going through that.
I wonder if that miss that we were told about by Rick DeBrule is just in a certain part of the RPM range for James Weaver. Maybe when he's really hard on the gas at high RPM, he doesn't have as much of a problem. Either way, once again, Davy Jones shoots down the backstretch and closes up again on James Weaver. We talk about downforce in these cars. To give you an idea of what we mean, engineers tell us that these cars generate as much as 6,000 pounds of downforce with all the various airfoils and the management of the airflow over the car. That's 3 times the natural weight of the race car, so you can understand the incredible tension put on the suspensions of these full-out racing machines. Here comes Davy Jones.
Yeah, and just simply a horsepower pass. That was very impressive by the Jaguar.
And Weaver comes alongside it. They touch.
There's contact.
They touch going into 1.
Round 1.
But everybody keeps 4 wheels on the racetrack. I guess that's about as gentlemanly as you can get if you're still going to shake hands.
That was quite good. I'm just wondering if Weaver is maybe going to come back up here. I'm sure this will probably spur James on, where he'll want to try and catch back up to Jones now. You see, Weaver has changed his line just in that one lap. We're entering the corner of the previous lap. He'd been going down to the middle of the track, and Jones had been going right to the outside to get as big an arc as possible through that corner. At that point, then Jones entered the middle of it. Now he is in a defensive position for 1 or 2 laps, and he'll have to block any attempts by Weaver.
Well, it looks as though we're seeing that passing phenomenon once again. Once a car that was having trouble getting by another one does get past, he's able to motor away. And Davy Jones right now is quickly opening up the gap on James Weaver. Really like that number 16 Dyson Racing Porsche isn't going to be up to it.
Very, very quick opening there.
Now Davy Jones draws the beat on Jim Adams, and the number 10 wins Porsche 962 up in front of him. And the game begins once again. Only this time there's a new driving personality in front of him, and Jones is going to have to rethink this whole thing. Like a pitcher and a batter in baseball, if you will. 2 personalities at work.
And just look at the Jaguars as going along this track. And now, this is a smooth track, and yet we can still see the car just bouncing and popping around here. You mentioned the downforce that these cars are developing. Some of the good cars will be running spring rates of 2,000 to 3,000 pounds. Now you can measure this, and that's how much it takes to compress the spring. A normal street car would have it in maybe 300 or 400 pounds. So you can imagine the feeling you get sitting in these seats. They're not very comfortable while you're doing it.
And here comes your leader. We've been watching James Weaver. No sooner is he passed by Davy Jones and the Jaguar than he has the overall leader in the race at an average speed thus far of 110.494 miles an hour, a full 2 miles an hour faster than the record pace set by Chip Robinson last year. Down the front straightaway comes Jeff Brabham. One more time, there's a look at the young man. His last lap speed 111, so he indeed is going faster than his average pace thus far, not holding back. But at the back of our minds has to be the question, when will he come in for that second fuel stop, if in fact it's going to be necessary, as we think it is. For Jeff, this has been a tremendous season, just the right medicine for his ailing career. Rick DeBrule has a closer look at Jeff.
Jeff Brabham is having fun again, but then winning will do that for you.
You know, it's just one of those years. You hope that it always happens, and you know, to win the races that we've won so far this year has been a great thrill. And yes, I am having a lot of fun. Yeah.
It was 10 years ago that Brabham first came to the United States. It didn't take him long to win in both the old Can-Am series and Super V. He finally hit the IndyCar ranks in 1982. It seemed like that first win would be right around the corner, but it never happened. In 5 years of IndyCars, he came close a lot, but he never hit that checkered flag first.
Never lost faith in myself, and you can feel down at times, you know, but you know, you just got to come around and go to the next race and still try your hardest. You know, because you're running midfield doesn't mean you're not trying hard. It just means that you haven't got the setup or you haven't got the equipment to run up front. But you still drive just as hard, you know.
So when he and the Nissan won their first event this season at Road Atlanta, it was like finally breaking through.
Since that race, this team has just improved so much. It's just unbelievable. And you know, the intensity's there now, and we're, even though we've won 6 races in a row, we're still a very, very hungry race team.
Where does he go from here? Well, for the time being, he's happy to win with his Nissan, but he has applied for and received an international super license. That means he could try to follow his world champion father into Formula One.
Last year, I had an opportunity to drive in the Australian Grand Prix, and that's something, you know, that I've always wanted to do. And I couldn't do it because I couldn't get a license in time. So I thought, well, you know, to hell with it. I'm going to apply for a license. It doesn't cost anything, and it really doesn't mean anything. But if an opportunity ever came up to run the Grand Prix in Australia or something like that, at least I could do it.
And then there's always that bit of unfinished business, IndyCar.
Kind of gets under my skin that I haven't won a race in IndyCars, and that still kind of eats away at me. So, you know, we're just going to have to wait and see.
Well, that waiting might not take too long for Jeff Brabham, who certainly put some numbers on the board this year, and with a little luck, he'll get that top-flight Indy drive that he'd like to have. Meanwhile, we have bad news, folks. Our second in-car camera is parked inside this car. Hiro Matsushita's Panasonic Mazda Argo, as you can see, is going nowhere fast. The engine hood is off the car, and they're working on it, although the crew, by cleaning the windshield, seems to be pretty enthusiastic about getting it back into the race. But as you can see, the wrenches are being put to work, and that is not a good sign.
It appears they're working on the right rear suspension area. Now it's very difficult to tell exactly what they're doing there, Bob.
Well, let's get back to the racetrack in the meantime while they work on Matsushita's car, and we hope to get him back out there for some more great in-car pictures. Meanwhile, your leader, Jeff Brabham, there is bearing down once again on the 16 of Price Cobb. And James Weaver presently at the controls, and should he be lapped, that would mean only 4 cars remain on the lead lap among the GTP machines. There are 5 cars among themselves on the lead lap in the lights category that is running simultaneously here live on ESPN from Portland. Very quickly, you see Brabham closing in on Weaver, who's having trouble with that Porsche 962. He's had trouble with a cylinder. The engine is off song, and Brabham will shortly make quick work of James Weaver. But the action continues. About 20 laps remain here at Portland, and we'll be here to the end, so join us.
At Volkswagen, our engineers believe car and driver should not merely act, but interact. To them, a Volkswagen isn't a vehicle for the driver, but rather an extension of the driver. Our engineers believe the most important moving part of a Volkswagen is the one behind the wheel. German engineering, the Volkswagen way.
Quaker State with QSX. How do you make a motor oil this good? You test it in the lab. You test it under the hood. You test it on the track.
Quaker State quality. We don't just talk about it, we live by it.
The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
It's the Quaker State Porsche sweepstakes and rebate, and everybody wins. Mail in the rebate by August 5th, and you'll have $360 per case in your pocket, and maybe a Porsche in your garage.
Quick Facts are brought to you by Quaker State Motor Oil. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will. In the ongoing search for better performance in the Camel GT series, the latest hot setup is 17-inch wheels, an inch bigger than the ones that were previously used. One advantage has to do with tires. The narrower tire sidewall is stiffer, which makes for better handling and steering response. The other advantage has nothing to do with tires, because unlike street cars, wheels on these GTP cars fit directly over the hubs. And the extra inch of clearance on a 17-inch wheel provides for much better brake cooling. Well, neither brakes have not been the problem for this car, number 16, James Weaver, but he has been in and out of the pits while we are away at commercial. It was a very short pit stop indeed, and Jerry Garrett should have more from pit road.
Well, the problem down here was that they had to manually turn down the boost on the car. It was running too rich. They have a fuel mileage problem. They've got it solved, they think. They sent him back out there. No further problem we know of.
Well, that's certainly an interesting development, Bill. I would think if I'm down on power, I'd want to turn it up instead of down, no matter even if it does cost me another pit stop.
Well, I would do the same thing. I don't understand that. In case it was maybe running too much boost. Sometimes what will happen is that the control itself will become faulty, and you'll start to run excess boost. What will happen eventually is, of course, you're going to detonate the whole motor. And with these engines being worth $80,000 to $100,000, you want to avoid that.
This is the car that engaged in a stirring duel with the Jaguar of John Nielsen in the closing laps of the Grand Prix of Miami run earlier this year here on ESPN. Great race there, but that second place by Nielsen was as close as the Jaguar. The past 6 races have belonged to this man, Jeff Brabham, and his number 83 red, white, and blue Nissan team. Electromotive Engineering out of El Segundo, California. And as we mentioned at the top of the show, they deserve all the success they have. It's been 5 years making this car do everything they've wanted it to do. And right now, just about everybody else on the series would say it does a whole lot too much. Remember that there are rules coming into play to bring more engines onto the series and maybe control the superiority of the Nissan, and we'll talk about that a little bit later.
I think, too, what we have to really keep in mind is to really understand the impressive display that they've had this year is the fact that they've got the 6 victories with only 1 car. They have not had the luxury of having 2 cars out there, as you see today. This is the first time. And to compete against so many other teams, your chances of having that 1 car successfully compete 5 or 6 times, amazing. Really, truly amazing what they've done.
Right now, you see as Brabham overtakes some of the Camel Lights cars, he quickly moves by Jim Downing's Mazda. The 07 car is Don Bell making a return to the series. He hasn't raced here for some time. That's a car that was taken out of mothballs. It was missing most of its parts when Don decided he wanted to bring the car back out and race it here at Portland. And that is a battle for position in class. That is 4th place Don Bell in the white number 07, and the blue number 63 here of Jim Downing is running in the 5th position in the Camel Lights class.
Yeah, it's great to see Don back. He has been gone for a while, and the AT&T sponsorship is nice to have back on the track.
Now behind them, you see the number 1 car, the white car, at the very end of the tail there. That is Charles Morgan, who is threatening to lap them. He would put Jim Downing a lap down. There is Charles Morgan there.
You can see, too, looking at Morgan's car, and if you compare it with Don Bell's car, these are both Pontiac Spice Firebird race cars, and yet Morgan's car has new updated bodywork. Like, look at the roof line and look how narrow that is. The little driving compartment, the bubble over top of the driver. It's very, very narrow. And look ahead. Oh, indeed, there's almost contact there, too.
We saw that contact between Morgan and Jim Downing, the defending series champion. Put Downing a lap down as your leader, the 01 of Charles Morgan out of Arkansas. Now, moves in on the 07 of Bell.
Right there, and pardon me for interrupting, you can see a really good idea of the 2 cars. This is just, again, the evolutionary process. They said that the new body design, the one that's in 2nd place in your picture right there, that one right there, the 01 car, is better downforce and lower drag. It should be a much quicker car.
There you see Charles Morgan. You saw a version of this car running with a more powerful engine in our ESPN coverage at Le Mans. Let's update our in-car camera with Hiro Matsushita. He pitted because the muffler came off the car, and he was black flagged for being too noisy. There are noise restrictions in place here at Portland. You cannot be too loud. You cannot be, I believe the number is 110 decibels. Plenty noisy, thank you. But most of the cars were not able to meet that noise standard, so they attached mufflers for this particular racetrack, and the muffler had fallen off the number 70 car there, Hiro Matsushita. He's back on the racetrack, and that's what it looks like from his position.
Is that the lifetime muffler guarantee?
All right, announcer hung the curveball. Bill Adam hit it out. Let the record show. Nevertheless, Hiro Matsushita is back into the race with his camera, our camera, over his left shoulder, and onto the front straightaway he goes. Up through the gears, 150 miles an hour or so, would you say, Bill?
Yes, he would be running in that range right there. And what he can do is just take a few seconds and have a look at the gauges. Check his water temperature, check everything, oil pressure, see what revs he's running. Really can look around and then call the pits and advise them of what's going on.
Same opportunity here for Jeff Brabham, still in the lead as he has been from the very beginning. But the laps are beginning to run short here at Portland International Raceway. And the question remains, does Brabham have the fuel to go the distance without another pit stop?
Well, I think with a lead this secure, there's no doubt that if they felt there was any jeopardy of running out of gas, they're going to bring Jeff in and just put a quick splash in. It would be a 5 or 10 second stop maximum. They wouldn't refill it totally. They'd only add a few gallons.
Well, we're looking at about 12 laps to go unofficially here at Portland. Jeff Brabham down the long backstretch, flying around without a care in the world as Mr. Brabham apparently headed for victory here at Portland. We'll see.
The big Q stands for quality. In Quaker State's 11,000 RPM Porsche, in Ricky Rudd's high-torque Buick, clean-running Quaker State with QSX gives them unbeatable protection from wear and tear.
And it's the same Quaker State you buy right off the shelf.
Quaker State, the big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
It's the Quaker State Porsche sweepstakes and rebate, and everybody wins. Mail in the rebate by August 5th, and you'll have $360 per case in your pocket, and maybe a Porsche in your garage.
Volkswagen engineers have developed a remarkable fuel injection system, which gives our Jetta 17% more horsepower than before, and top track speeds of over 100. Of course, there are those Volkswagen engineers who believe they've developed something no less remarkable. The brakes. German engineering, the Volkswagen way.
BF Goodrich Update 7 with Bob Strange, test engineer. Subject, all-weather performance tires.
Did you know that there are now high-performance tires that also offer superior handling in both wet and snow? Now you don't have to compromise dry performance in order to obtain sure handling even under adverse weather conditions. Let me show you what I mean. This new all-weather Comp TA combines the construction of the Comp TA with a unique tread pattern and special tread compounds. What this gives is excellent performance under all weather conditions. Instead of changing tires twice a year, this may be the only tire that you'll ever need. Of course, you still need to pay attention to changing weather conditions and drive accordingly. For more information on high-performance all-weather tires, contact your local BF Goodrich TA specialist.
BF Goodrich TAs, tested tough to make your car perform.
Well, it may be 90 degrees in Portland, Oregon this summer, but it's time for NFL football once again next Sunday, live here on ESPN at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Look for the New Orleans Saints to visit the Minnesota Vikings in our preseason coverage of NFL football. That should be a good one. Speaking only for myself, I'm ready for a little hunkering down as long as I don't have to suit up and get out there.
I am too.
9 laps remaining here at Portland, and Jeff Brabham has led it from the get-go. A spectacular demonstration of driving skill and mechanical dexterity. A wonderful Nissan team threatening to put up their 7th straight Camel GT victory this year.
We were talking at the start of the year about how this is going to be a tremendous Porsche Jaguar battle all year long, and it has been for second place.
Well, we've been talking all day about Nissan's pit strategy. The laps are running down. If there's going to be a pit stop, it's going to have to happen soon. Let's find out more now from Rick DeBrule.
Kaz Kastner is Nissan's national motorsports manager. He has been keeping track of everything that's been going on here in the Nissan pit. There's been some speculation. Do you have to have a second pit stop?
No, we don't have to have a stop.
Were you ever planning on it? Is there any problem?
This morning in warm-up, there was a little consideration, but as it is, the traffic is slowed enough to we're in pretty good shape.
You've been able to conserve fuel?
Sorry?
You've been able to conserve fuel?
Yeah.
That's the word.
I like Kaz Kastner a lot, but he took his interview lessons from the guys down in the Jaguar team. Don't expect a lot of words out of Kaz Kastner, but he is a very proud man, an integral part of this Nissan team, and one of the key people that stepped forward and helped Don Devendorf bring this Nissan to the pinnacle of racing perfection that they're at right now.
He certainly is a very integral part, and Mr. Kastner is really a delightful man. For anybody getting the impression that he is very abrupt, he's just concentrating and probably a little bit nervous about watching his two babies out in the track there.
Very outgoing man. And here is second place. You're not seeing double. That is John Morton in the sister car, the number 84 Nissan. And since the Nissans have begun their victory streak back in April at Road Atlanta, the attention has been growing. In fact, the Nissan factory representatives of the United States threw a big party a couple of weeks ago for the Electromotive team because of their success on the Camel GT circuit this year. And at Road America just a couple of weeks ago, we saw Japanese news crews and magazine writers and radio crews there following the progress of, well, I wouldn't be surprised if they call it our car back in Japan right now. But give all the credit to Electromotive. With very little factory support in the early years, Don Devendorf and the crew have brought this car to where it is today. Unbeatable, it would appear, in Camel GT competition right now.
It certainly does. And just it goes on, and there's been no weaknesses shown by this car at all.
Down the front straightaway, around our in-car camera he goes. That's John Morton moving up now in the number 9 car of David Loring as he makes his way through the lights. There you see the number 60 Jaguar of John Nielsen running in 3rd position right now. Nielsen, who was displaced at the top of the point standings a couple of races ago at Watkins Glen because he could never get into a car. The Jaguar team lost both cars before the race was over. Nielsen scored no points whatsoever. Brabham, of course, won the race, his 5th of his 6 victories, and took over the points lead. Right now, Brabham has 123 points to 106 for Nielsen, and as things stand now, Brabham will put himself more than 20 points ahead of Nielsen with a victory here today, in which case he can afford to miss a race entirely, and Nielsen still will not be able to catch him. But still, there are 13 drivers still with a mathematical chance at the Camel GT Championship this year, and it's $150,000 bonus, and nobody is going to let up in the last few races of the year. Sears Point, Columbus, San Antonio, and San Diego still to come. Now there you see the number 14 and number 16 cars. Chip Robinson and James Weaver, 2 of the problem-plagued Porsches out there today. There's John Morton once again down in the 84 car into turn 1. Morton having a good day of it as well. I'm sure he would love to win this race, but second place is going to make him feel mighty good as well.
It will, and I think having his team come 1 and 2, that's just as sweet because he's really going to be celebrating tonight with the crew.
Circulating in second position behind team leader Jeff Brabham. We asked John Morton whether team strategy would pose any problems for him, and here's what he told us about strategy.
I don't anticipate any strategy. Obviously, we're supposed to finish 1-2, but we haven't discussed the order.
Well, John, if you don't get a move on shortly, the order is going to be out of your hands, because right now your man Brabham is way out in front and has just about ready, I think, to punch the cruise control. Jeff Brabham way out ahead. In second place is this man, John Morton. Second place might have to be what he accepts today. There is your leader, Jeff Brabham, as the laps continue to dwindle here. About 6 laps remaining, I believe, unofficially, if I've kept count correctly. Brabham makes his way around another car.
Now you can believe that Jeff is really trying to look for any fuel loss right now. He'd be watching the fuel pressure gauge and trying to figure out just what's going on. Calling the crew saying, now you're sure I can make it? You're absolutely sure.
I was right. There are 6 laps. There will be 5 to go when Jeff Brabham in this car makes his way across the start-finish stripe. There, 5 laps remaining here at Portland. About a minute a lap for Jeff Brabham out of Noblesville, Indiana. Originally from Australia, of course, son of the 3-time Formula 1 world champion, Black Jack, Sir Jack Brabham. 2 brothers has Jeff Brabham, who are racing presently over in Europe. And Brabham says his great joy would be to co-drive with his brothers, maybe at a race like Daytona or perhaps at Le Mans, to have a Brabham family race car. Jeff has put to rest any rumors that his father might like to get back into Formula 1 racing as an administrator. There was thought that maybe with the Brabham team owned by Bernie Ecclestone on the sidelines in Formula 1, maybe the original Brabham might like to step back in as a Formula 1 owner. Jeff says no, there's nothing to it at all. His father was just looking for the newspapers himself to see what the next rumor is going to be about his Formula 1 plans.
Yes.
We were incorrect. There is 1 fewer lap than we thought. There are 4 laps to go. So Jeff Brabham is making his way through this field even quicker than we expected. A record pace thus far today on a very warm, sunny day in Portland. But every day is sunny for Jeff Brabham and Team Nissan. Down the long straightaway he goes once again, coming up behind the number 15 Porsche, the John Kalajian machine, being shared by Belgian Bernard Jourdain and John Graham out of Canada. Graham, an interesting story on his own, suffered from Hodgkin's disease several years ago, went through a great deal of chemotherapy, a very painful recovery, but now says he is completely cured, and driving a race car is what he wants to do. He was at Le Mans driving the C2 class, the European version of the Camel Lights class, if you will, for smaller, less powerful cars. And right now, John Graham's doing everything he can to keep Jeff Brabham behind him. A couple of laps remain.
You can see just how careful Jeff is being right now, too. He's hardly using up any pavement at all on the exit of the corner. He'll be slowing his lap times down as much as he can and really dropping the revs. Doesn't want to lose concentration, but he just wants to take things very, very gently. Ideally, what would be nice is if he and John Morton could stage a 1-2 finish at the start-finish line. They may even be thinking about doing something like that.
Big crowd looking on, folks catching a few rays, watching Jeff Brabham go way outside. You said it, Bill. He doesn't want to even approach the appearance of anything radical at this point.
Extra caution right now. Just nothing to risk. In fact, this is just what Jeff doesn't want right now, is to be around traffic. He would like to be all by himself on the racetrack with a lot of space to look for. And if something happens, for example, if one of the cars right ahead of him right now happened to make a mistake and took him off the track, be disaster. So he doesn't like being around traffic with only a couple of laps to go.
Jeff Brabham pulls around the lights cars. The 1.9-mile Portland International Raceway, the scene of today's battle. There you see the 01 machine to the left of your screen. That's Charles Morgan from Arkansas, owner of a computer software company, out here racing today, and he is leading in Camel Lights. He has one previous victory this year at Mid-Ohio. If he can hold on, this will be his second victory, and it comes at the expense of Scott Schubert out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, who led much of the race, but was finally passed by Charles Morgan, who will take the checkered flag, it would appear, here at Portland. He is now passed by your overall race leader, Jeff Brabham, in the Nissan ZX Turbo car. We are on the last lap. Less than a minute remains in the 7th victory in a row in 1988 for Jeff Brabham.
Just truly a staggering performance. This car just keeps getting better and better, and the team does as well. Mr. Kastner made a reference to that, and so did Jeff, that the team keeps improving every single event, and they really do. He is following right now the Bayside car, the car of Bruce Levin. Bayside Racing, I was going to say Bayside Disposal, no longer is that. And I'm sure Bruce will have something to tell us about how he led Brabham around the final lap of this race.
Showed him the way to the checkered flag. May get his picture taken if he can keep going fast enough between now and the finish line.
He's done a great job this weekend. Bruce has driven better than I've ever seen him drive before. But here is perfection.
Around the turn he comes with some $30,000 in prize money awaiting. 110.21 miles an hour, the average speed thus far. That would shatter the record of 108 miles an hour set last year by Chip Robinson. And the checkered flag waves for Jeff Brabham, his 7th straight victory of 1988. And behind him, there is his teammate in the number 84 Nissan, John Morton of El Segundo, California, who has driven Datsun since he began racing some 25 years ago. Today, under the name of Nissan, maybe one of the most happy victories of his long and distinguished racing career. On the cool-off lap, the 83 of Jeff Brabham.
But this car always finishes races looking like it's still brand new. It never gets dirty. It never gets scratched.
A spectacular win, a little wave for the crowd there from the blue and white helmet of Jeff Brabham. Behind him, the field forms marching order as they make their way toward victory lane, and we'll be back to meet the happy winner here at Portland after this.
Hi, I'm Dr. Harry Wong. You know, people wonder why it is that chiropractic gets such good results, or why we get such good results at our own clinic. Let's take a look right now inside your body and how it works.
If your spinal column becomes misaligned, it can cause headache, back pain, neck pain, arm pain, fatigue, and loss of health. Get back to health. Let Dr. Wong give you a free exam valued at $48. It includes 30 different tests. Call today.
When it comes to tools for work and home, no one serves you better than Dennis's Discount Depot.
Dennis's gives you what no one else will. Warehouse pricing, combined with quality products and knowledgeable service. You can choose from the largest selection of brand name, hand and power tools. Everything from drill bits to air tools and compressors. And always discount priced. Open 7 days a week. Dennis's Discount Depot. 1200 El Camino Real, San Carlos. The largest little tool store in the West.
Speed. Power. More speed. If it has a motor and goes fast, you'll see it on Speed Week every Thursday night at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN.
At Volkswagen, our engineers believe car and driver should not merely act, but interact. To them, a Volkswagen isn't a vehicle for the driver, but rather an extension of the driver. Our engineers believe the most important moving part of a Volkswagen is the one behind the wheel. German engineering, the Volkswagen way.
Back live at Portland International Raceway, where the winner of the G.I. Joe's Camel Grand Prix, Jeff Brabham, is getting tidied up here for Victory Circle. And Jeff, it took a few years to do, but you finally brought this track to its knees.
Well, it really did. It was kind of very nervous there at the end there, and but the car just ran fantastic. I don't think I've ever driven such a good car in a race. It was just, the Nissan was just fantastic, and the guys did another fantastic job, and I'm just very, very happy.
You've been spending the last few months demoralizing the competition, but I guess today must have been the most demoralizing defeat for them so far.
Well, you know, racing's a funny game. Just because we win today doesn't mean we're going to win tomorrow, and we're working very hard for this, and, you know, we're so far so good, but we're not getting overconfident, that's for sure.
Were there any concerns for you today at all? I mean, it just looked like you turned the thing on at the green flag and turned it off at the checkered flag.
Well, the car ran very well. Mechanically, absolutely no problems whatsoever, and everybody, you know, was very good as regards to letting us through, and you know, the Camel Lights all did a very good job. And I really think that Goodyear really deserve a lot of credit, because they came out with a new tire for us for this race, and I think that made a lot of difference around here.
The one hope that your opposition had today was that you might have to make a second stop for fuel. That didn't materialize. How close was it?
Well, it was pretty close, but we knew going in the race we'd be okay. And, you know, some tracks we have a lot of problems, and other tracks we have no problems. So this is one that we didn't have a problem with.
Okay, well, thank you, Jeff. Congratulations on Camel GT victory number 7 in a row.
And a spectacular victory it is for Jeff Brabham as the Nissan team hustles down from pit road to join their heroes. Brabham, John Morton finishing in second place. And let's go back to Jerry Garrett now, who's with another of our finishers.
Well, John Morton, you had a long, hot afternoon, but it was a rewarding one for you.
Yes, it was. That's the position that's the position I think I was supposed to finish in. And my radio came unplugged during the pit stop, so I didn't know if I was going to make it on fuel, but so I backed off at the end and did make it, but it was all in all an uneventful run.
You've had a year full of trials and tribulations personally. How do you feel after this particular event? I guess you're buoyed by the fact that you guys have finished 1-2.
Certainly I am. I was in much better condition I am right now than I thought I'd be, because my cool suit didn't work, and I didn't think I'd even make it, but I didn't want to tell anybody that.
That makes a pretty hot afternoon in there, doesn't it?
Yeah, but these cars have been pretty well thought out in every detail, and one of the things that they do better than most of the other cars is allow the driver to run a little cooler.
Well, a much happier but much thinner John Morton. Congratulations.
A spectacular win for John Morton. As I mentioned, he started out running Datsuns, which is what Nissans were known as before the name change, and he's been running them for a long, long time in SCCA competition and in IMSA competition. Let's take a look at our top 5 results in each class now as the crowd begins to file out at Portland International Raceway. Jeff Brabham, of course, your happy winner. John Morton, a 1-2 sweep for Nissan. In third position, John Nielsen doing all he could in the Jaguar. Behind him, his teammate Davy Jones from Cortland, New York, and James Weaver, who brought that crippled Porsche 962 home after sharing with Price Cobb. Camel Lights, Charlie Morgan, your winner after Scott Schubot led most of the way. Tom Hessard will keep his points lead as a result of his third-place finish. We'll be right back to Portland.
No matter how Dodge makes it look, winning ain't easy.
Off the road, the land is mean. The ultimate test of man and machine, so we take on the dust, we take on the heat, just trying to prove that Dodge can't be beat. And if winning was easy, why run the race? Can't be number one if you don't set the pace. At Dodge we know there's only one first place. If winning was easy, it wouldn't be a race.
If you're looking for winning performance, it's gotta be a Dodge.
Why is NTW so driven to give you the right tire put on the right way, to help you maneuver properly, to deal with sudden stops, and handle the worst the road has to offer? But the most important reason we're so driven has to do with much more than roads, weather, or even tires.
Hurry, Mommy, hurry! Come on, honey, under the umbrella. That's right. Hurry up.
Introducing Kodacolor Gold 100.
I see your true colors shining through. See your true colors shining through.
Kodacolor Gold 100 gives you the most accurate colors, the truest colors of any print film.
Don't be afraid to let them show.
A new Kodacolor Gold.
Your true colors.
Back at Portland, the celebrations continue for Jeff Brabham and John Morton, who have brought their Nissans home in first and second position. An unprecedented and phenomenal two-car sweep. In third place was John Nielsen. A good day for Jaguar, all things considered, and we'll be talking a little bit more about the weight and engine restrictions that are going to be placed on all of the cars next year in order to perhaps counter the superiority of the Nissan team thus far this year. There on the victory podium, you see Miss Camel, Jeannie Lyles, along with Jeff Brabham in the middle, John Morton to the left and to the right, Denmark's John Nielsen. And on the whole, he and Martin Brundle, his teammate, drove a superior race today, considering that their car does give up a performance advantage on this racetrack to the Nissan. The Camel Lights winner for the day, Charles Morgan, is standing by now with Jerry Garrett.
Well, Charles, congratulations. How'd your race go today?
Well, it was about as hard a race as I've ever had. We ran absolutely flat out all day, and thank goodness Scotty didn't get very good fuel mileage, but we really had a heck of a race out there. I was trying to save enough to the end. I figured he was going to have to stop, and I knew we could go all the way, so I was hoping I could hang on close enough to him that at the end he'd come out behind me and I could stay ahead of him, and that worked. But it's all we could do. We did all we could do today. I want my crew to do an incredible job. Our car's been crashed out of the race 2 times the last 2 weekends leading the race, and so this was a heck of a thing for the crew who spent an awful lot of time working on their car.
You went into the race really not knowing what to expect.
No, we really didn't. The car's been working awfully well all weekend, so we were very pleased with the way the car was working through the qualifying. We lost an engine in practice yesterday morning and missed part of qualifying, but the car was great this morning and has worked extremely well almost all weekend.
Congratulations on a hard-earned victory.
It was hard-earned. Thanks a lot.
Can you tell Charles Morgan is from Arkansas? His second victory of the year and well driven as well. That will move him up in the Camel Lights points to just outside the top 5, if I'm doing my arithmetic correctly. Tom Hesser will continue to lead that category on the basis of his finish today in 3rd position in that class. Jim Downing remains in search of that 4th straight Camel GT championship. He will be in 2nd place, that is. To the right of your screen there, John Nielsen accepting awards for Jaguar in today's race, and a member of the Jaguar team, Davy Jones, who finished in 4th place, is with Rick DeBrule.
Well, Davy Jones, you said the track changed drastically from the morning warm-up session to when the race happened. Why?
I just think they had the 3-hour Firehawk race yesterday, and this morning they high-pressured hose washed the circuit down, and in the warm-up the track was magic. We were setting some very fast times, and I think with the GTO and GTU race and then our race in the heat of the day, just with the rubber that we're laying down, it gets very, very slippery through the corners, and the tires just lose grip. So we're sliding and just having a lot of fun out there.
Obviously, the domination has continued. Nissan has won again. Do you think they need to make an actual mid-course change, something to sort of slow them down and help you guys?
Well, you know, the Castro Jaguar team, we did everything we possibly could do with our pit stops, drivers, you know. We drove absolutely as hard as we can. It's a sprint race, and we finished second and third, and Nissan was first and second. So you tell us. You saw the race. We did the best we could do.
Do you lobby for it, though? Do you actually go to IMSA and say, hey, we've got to do something to equalize this?
Well, it's up to IMSA. I mean, they make the rules. We can't, you know, we're here to compete in the series, and we're competition, but, you know, we can't change the rules. It's up to them.
Is it frustrating being a driver and being there in the back and knowing that unless they break, you're not going to pass?
It is, yeah. I mean, you know, as a driver, you want to win. And, you know, when you come here and you run competitive to everybody else and somebody's up there, the cars that are just ahead of you are 3 and 4 seconds faster than you, what can you do? I mean, you know, finishing second is like winning the race for us.
Davy Jones finishing fourth in his position. Jerry Garrett is standing by with a third-place winner.
Well, John Nielsen, you did all you could do today. You came in first in class, I guess, so to speak.
Well, that's about right, yeah. The car went perfect. We had a super pit stop, only 22 seconds. We couldn't do any better than we did today. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough, but we have to take the points we get.
Points-wise, you earned a considerable amount of points, but do you feel like you're a decisive number behind now?
Well, I am definitely. I mean, now Jeff have had 7 wins in a row, and, you know, I haven't won anybody's or just one race, so we are behind, yeah. It looks difficult.
Okay, well, thanks for a good drive today.
All right, John Nielsen was telling you the story there of the points. Jeff Brabham, as a result of today's victory, will take a substantial lead with 143 points to 118 for Nielsen. As I explained earlier, that means that Jeff Brabham can now miss a race entirely, drop out. He has the margin he needs to suffer a mechanical problem and score no points and still hold on to his points lead. Bryce Cobb in Porsches in third, James Weaver fourth after the driver change, Martin Brundle fifth. We'll be right back.
A tradition of horsepower. This is IROC, the International Race of Champions. 12 world champion drivers in 12 identically prepared Z28 Camaros. It's being sponsored by the King of Beards. And when it's over, everyone will know who's king of the road. Racing fans, this Bud's for you.
If you're looking for the only sports car in the world that gives you the superior traction of front-wheel drive, a competition suspension, and an unbeatable 770 protection plan, then look no further. It's gotta be the intercooled, turbocharged Dodge Daytona Shelby Z.
Now save up to $14.40 with cash back and package discounts on selected Dodge cars in stock.
ESPN is your ticket to NFL Sunday night action when the best go head-to-head. ESPN brings you 13 exciting NFL matchups. Each Sunday night of the season, see the greatest plays of every game on NFL Primetime, football's finest hour. Joe Theismann joins ESPN's acclaimed NFL coverage when the Saints and Vikings go head-to-head August 7th at 8 Eastern. Live NFL Sunday Night Football on ESPN.
Back live at Portland, Oregon, where Jeff Brabham led all 97 laps of today's race. There were no lead changes, no full course cautions. 9 cars out of the race of the 28 that started. The official time of the race, 1 hour, 41 minutes, and 28 seconds. Now, as we've discussed throughout the day today, there are new rules coming on board, courtesy of IMSA, to try to control the superiority of the Nissan team. For a little more on that now, let's go to the videotape. You're looking at the heart of the all-conquering Nissan Camel GTP car, a turbocharged V6 engine. Almost as much as the drivers on this series, engines like this one and the car it occupies are the stars of the show. And to get more engines and cars into the series for next year, IMSA has already released its engine regulations for 1989. It's very simple, and I'll see if I can explain it to you. An engine like this one is eligible for next year, but its turbo is even going to be more restricted than it was this year. The car will also have to weigh 50 pounds more to slow it down a little bit. Porsche will be back next year, but its turbo will also be restricted, and it will have to weigh 50 pounds more, but because it's an air-cooled engine, it can weigh less. If you have a pushrod engine like Ford, Buick, Chevy, or Pontiac, your car can weigh less because it makes less horsepower, unless it uses a turbocharger, in which case it will have to weigh more, and it will also be restricted. If you're in Jaguar, you get no luck at all. Your car is going to have to weigh 50 pounds more, even if you do absolutely nothing to the engine. You can also use a Formula One engine in the series in 1989, and your car is going to have to be somewhere in between the Nissan and the pushrod engines. You can also run your Mazda next year in 3-rotor or 4-rotor form, and each has a separate weight for its car. That makes for lots of headaches around the tech shed here in IMSA, and a lot in the announcer's booth.
Well, you helped me in the announcer's booth, Bob. I think you simplified things very well.
Isn't that perfectly clear now?
It is to me, yes.
Okay, maybe you'll be driving one of these things next year. The story all day here at Portland has, of course, been the Nissan team, and our Jerry Garrett is standing by now with the man who has masterminded the entire operation.
We're watching a group shot right now, a family portrait, if you will, of the Nissan team. We want to get in here and talk to Don Devendorf for just a second. Don, this is the kind of victory that I guess a guy like you that had this dream 5 years ago really wanted to accomplish finally, isn't it?
Well, this is something that we just never would have expected to be able to really come up with something like this. So, you know, it's always possible if everything goes just right. And the crew's been doing a fantastic job. We've got help from the Team Highball guys to put this whole thing together and be able to run a two-car effort this weekend. And we're hoping to continue that for several more races this weekend.
This is a real tour de force, this particular race. I mean, you hit the competition over the head with a sledgehammer all day.
Well, it's something we've been really snake bit here at Portland. You know, we've been bridesmaids 2 other times, and this one we just really wanted. And particularly with the string that we had, it's something that we try not to think about, but it's one of those things that, you know, after it happens, it's something that just is amazing. I don't know what to say about it.
You spent many years as a driver yourself, had a very distinguished driving career. You're listed as a driver on this car. Has the mood ever strike you to let me in that seat?
Oh, from time to time, but we've got plenty to keep us busy. You know, the new rules, everything else for next year. A lot of work, just trying to get this thing organized to be able to run 2 cars successfully like this. Has been a lot of work to get all the equipment and everything else we need to do. So it's something that really, you know, keeps the attention pretty thoroughly occupied right now.
I guess you deserve a break and be able to sit back and enjoy this one.
Yeah, it's actually a little bit easier. Yeah, get down towards the end, you know, it's almost like the driver, you know, at the end where you start hearing things, you know, because we've been here so many times where it's been the last lap or 2 or 5 laps from the end where you have a problem. And this time it was just delightful to see it all work out well.
Congratulations to you, Don.
Thank you.
And our congratulations as well to Don Devendorf and the team. Let's run down the top 10 from the very beginning. Jeff Brabham, your leader from flag to flag. John Morton, his teammate, finishes second ahead of a pair of Jaguars and the Porsche shared by James Weaver and Price Cobb. The second 5, Bruce Levin, a great performance for the 50 and over Porsche maven. Dominic Dobson next, and the rest of the top 10. We'll be back to Portland for more of our live coverage of the G.I. Joe's Grand Prix after these words.
Think about how many bank accounts you have scattered around town. Checking, savings, credit. Now, Bank of America puts it all together in one simple account with one simple statement, with access to everything through California's largest full-service ATM network. Introducing the Alpha account from B of A. Because if your bank's really on the ball, it should simplify your life, not complicate it. Alpha, new from B of A. Banking's never been easier.
Toyota's really big sales event is really big. And like these sporty Toyota Celicas, it's also going fast. Oh, nice wheels. And so now's the time to see a Toyota dealer and get the lowdown. Special option packages could save you more than ever on Celicas. So get out of your seat and get going.
Really big deals, really big selection. Toyota's really big sales event is on now.
Let's cruise.
Dodge Shadow ES. When you look at its 60 standard features, its turbocharged engine, its 770 protection plan, when you consider the fact that the Shadow ES is a better value, almost $700 less than the Chevy Cavalier C24, you'll agree, when it comes to outstanding value, it's gotta be a Dodge.
Now save up to $14.40 with cash back and package discounts on selected Dodge cars in stock.
Bob Strange, B.F. Goodrich test engineer.
All week long, I test tires. But on weekends, I drive race cars. In some ways, tire testing is just as tough. Comparing one tire with another takes precision driving. I believe TA Radios are the best performance tires in the world. And I punish them to keep them that way.
BF Goodrich TAs, tested tough to make your car perform.
Panasonic in-car camera provided by Panasonic, sponsor of GT Prototype Light and Pacific Creative Racing. Well, it's been a spectacular, sunny, and festive day as we started out this program by telling you another great day for Jeff Brabham, John Morton, and the Nissan team with a 1-2 finish here in the G.I. Joe's Grand Prix at Portland. The race today has also had a spectacular impact on manufacturers' points thus far this year. Coming in, Porsche held a narrow lead over Nissan, but that has now been reversed. Nissan takes the lead, 143 points to 137 for Porsche. Jaguar holding firm at 123 points thus far this year. Bill Adam has been with us throughout the race. Bill, your thoughts on today's event?
Well, it's a bit of a dismal thought because I really don't know what the opposition can do at this stage of the racing season. The Nissan looks absolutely invincible, and again, it hasn't shown any weaknesses. The brakes are always there. The motor performs flawlessly, and now the drivers are continuing their flawless performances too, and it looks like a steamroll possession for the rest of the season.
Well, certainly Jeff Brabham also broke the Nissan jinx after 2 years of late dropouts at this race. He won again, and we'll be back to Portland in a moment.
No matter how Dodge makes it look, winning ain't easy.
Off the road, the land is mean. The ultimate test of man and machine. So we take on the dust, we take on the heat. Just trying to prove that Dodge can't be beat. And if winning was easy, why run the race? Can't be number one if you don't set the pace. At Dodge we know there's only one first place. If winning was easy, it wouldn't be a race.
If you're looking for winning performance, it's gotta be a Dodge.
No matter what anyone tells you, the Wall Street Journal cannot make you a success overnight. Which is why we suggest a 13-week subscription.
Call 800-228-1900 for this great journal subscription offer. 13 weeks for just $29.75 with a money-back guarantee. 13 weeks, $29.75. Phone 800-228-1900 now for the Wall Street Journal.
You'll flip over USAC midgets and sprints. These powerful race cars make for an exciting challenge. Good things come in small packages. USAC Racing, Thursday night, live on ESPN.
Back at Portland International Raceway and rapidly approaching the conclusion of our live ESPN Speed World coverage of the G.I. Joe's Camel Grand Prix. We'd like to get the final thoughts of our pit reporters for today's race who were down there for all of the action. Let's start with Jerry Garrett.
Well, I have to emphasize, Bob, that there is a sense of frustration down here among these crews that are chasing the Nissan you can't describe. They are so frustrated. They have absolutely no confidence that the new rules next year are going to change things for them and save them. They are really fed up. Rick DeBrule, what's your opinion?
Well, we spent most of the day in the Nissan pit. It's the exact opposite. If ever a pit had serenity, it is in the Nissan pit. They may move a lot during the pit stops, but most of the time they were simply taking down the pit times, the lap times, watching what was going on. Even having to do an extra pit stop for an extra car was not a problem.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. You know, a thought occurs to me, Bill. Whatever happens on the racetrack, the driver's response to the twists and turns of luck and the fortunes on the racetrack is, that's racing. And right now, the Nissan absolutely has the Camel GT Series down pat. And you certainly can't blame them for enjoying their success because it may go away at our very next race. We'll be back in a moment.